You are watching the Vodka stream.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Saturday edition Vodka stream. What is going on? Knocking over things as I do. Jesus, I'm a klutz sometimes, I tell you. But yeah, doing a Saturday edition because why the F not? Oh, I don't have my open sign on. And I don't have my Batman sign on. Whoops. Let's turn all the lights on here, guys. God. Yep, good to see you. But yeah, doing the Saturday edition and inviting on, of course, members of the Patreon and members of the channel. So I'll be sending the link out in a little bit. So if you guys want to join and be part of the discussion, hey, let's talk, let's chat. It's the first one of 2025. Of course, let's talk about the DC universe, and of course, we'll talk about many other things too. Hold on a sec. There we go. Got to put the open sign on. My God, we're open for business here. So hopefully you guys are doing good. Yeah. Yep. Good to see you. We got Braden right here. Great to see you. Lanterns has to be your most anticipated DCU project just because everything I hear about it, it hits my checklist. That's good. It's good. What's going on, James? How you doing? We got Eric right here. Good to see you, Phil. We got Jade. What is happening? I hope James Gunn got Jimmy Olsen right. Well, I mean, he did make him pretty legit looking for sure. So, I mean, can't complain about that. But yeah, for sure. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and start sending out the links so we can get it on. Let's see. Okay. All right. So sending out those links right there. So if you are a member of the channel or you're part of the $3 and $6 tier of the Patreon, cheers. You got a link. Come on. Let's don't be shy. He is a photographer, not a CIA agent. Okay. Understandable. But I think a lot of people realize that maybe that Jimmy Olsen in BVS was not the actual Jimmy Olsen. That's the thing. Maybe it was just the name that he chose to use. Got to think about it like that. And I know a lot of people didn't like, they didn't like a lot of things that Snyder did. I know that. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of people that misinterpreted also what's going on. So, yeah, no, I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear a hat today. And then I was like, I had this Batman hat that I forgot I had because I was, cleaning out my closet a little bit. And I was like getting all the hats together. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to wear the hat. Didn't feel like doing the hair or anything like that. So I was like, you know what? Let me just wear the hat. And I was like, cool. Then I'm like, oh, yeah, it's got the little cool Batman stitching on the back, so that's pretty cool. DCU Batman gotta have prep time. Kenny, what's going on? Hey, Dave, hope your Saturday is going well. Yeah, not too shabby. Like I said, I mean, I watched the movie today, guys. I mean, of course, Saturdays are my lazy day. They're definitely my lazy day. And I woke up about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and just kind of laid in bed, scrolling through, watching videos, just kind of being lazy, make some coffee, do all that stuff, and just have a lazy morning in bed. And then, of course, a couple hours later, I get up and start doing some things and everything. And then I decided I watched Boy Kills World, and that's that Bill Skarsgård movie. Decided to watch that. It's on Hulu. So I was like, you know what? Okay, let's watch that. And I enjoyed that. That is actually a good time. If you still need a Bill Skarsgård palate cleanse from The Crow, because The Crow was just so terrible, just was not good. I'm not saying it was all bad. I mean, I would say like the final act, at least was somewhat decent. But I'm just saying, if you need a Bill Skarsgård like palate cleanse where you see him kicking ass, watch Boy Kills the World. Or Boy, yeah, that's what it's called, right? I always think it's Versus the World. And I enjoyed it. It's a good time. It's a good time. Has a little bit of drama and has a little bit of plot twists and stuff, and just crazy action. So I enjoyed that. And then my Hulu just goes like, all right, now that you're done watching this, let's watch the Golden Girls. So I think it's just because like a couple of weeks ago, I think maybe last week or a week and a half ago, I fell asleep on my couch and I had a movie. I was watching Hulu and I fell asleep and it just kept playing stuff. And I was watching like, reruns of Home Improvement. And then immediately was like, well, if you're watching Home Improvement, we're going to watch Golden Girls now. And I just left it on. So then the Hulu was like, well, okay, we're going to continue your Hulu watch. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I wanted to, do some cleaning. So I was like cleaning out my closet and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, just leave it on. I'm not going to watch anything else. So I've had the Golden Girls on for like the last like 3-4 hours. It's a good show. I don't mind it. It's great. I used to watch it. My mom, had it on. I used to watch stuff like that. Nothing wrong with the Golden Girls, right? Anyways, cheers. So you want to see the front of the hat? The front of the hat's just the bats, just a traditional Batman hat. That's all. That's all. That's what it is. That's all it is. Nothing too crazy. But I was like, you know what? I didn't want the bill forward, so thank you for being a friend. Come on. There's nothing wrong with Golden Girls. Yeah, I mean, I think they've all passed, right? I think all the Golden Girls have passed. Yeah, they've all passed. May they rest in peace. But it's kind of funny when you like see like, oh, well, how old were they during that? I mean, that started in like 1985, which is crazy. And then I was like, whoa, Anyways, all right, enough. We're not gonna have a Golden Girls conversation here. Let's have like an actual conversation. Let's get everybody like joining in right here. James, what is happening? You are muted right now. I don't know if I muted you, but there. Up. Hold on. Sorry.
Hey.
There you go.
How's it going, man? Yeah, it's going good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. Awesome. Like I said, I've had a day of watching the Golden Girls and, cleaning out a closet. So,
yeah, I actually just finished binging Severance, the first season. I'm like, man, I love that show.
Dude, I watched that today too. That was the first thing when I woke up today. I was like, I got to watch the latest episode of Severance.
Yeah, that's got to be like my number probably 2 favorite show of all time now, like under True Detective season 1.
Oh,
it's just blown me away. I love it. I just keep rewatching it now.
Dude. Yeah. I was gonna actually tweet that out. That Severance currently, I mean, it's this latest episode just was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
How are you fully caught up?
Yeah, I've watched all of it up to season 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and then going into season 2. We won't say anything like spoilers, but I thought it was kind of interesting because when the first episode of this new season, when it started, I was kind of like, wow, they just kind of just like jump right back into the whole office setting,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, especially how the season 1 ended in such a cliffhanger. But it didn't kind of like, I was expecting more of like, oh, what's going on in the outside world when it comes to the characters. But then you get to episode 2 right here, they go back and go, this is what happens. And then it all links up. So it's like unlinear, which I love. And I was like, oh, thank you for showing what leads up to what happened in episode 1 of season 2. And I was like, perfect.
It's so good. And like, can I say a spoiler or like, it's not really a spoiler.
You could say it. Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
It's not really a spoiler because it's not really confirmed, but I think it is. But I love the idea that like Helly is really literally the main villain behind it all. And it's
that's not really a spoiler because I mean we find out that her Audi, is like part of Lumen. And
she is like basically the father doesn't really do much. He's the CEO now, but like she's the head of it. But the thing I can't like think of is, or like can't think of a reason for, is because now in season 2, I reckon she's Helena now in disguise. But like, why would she be an innie in the first season? I don't understand like why someone would go to that length, because you can't do anything anyway. So it's like, I want to know that motive. But now it's like, oh, she's behind it now. Like, she's the Audi down there, just kind of observing and keeping track of Mark.
It is kind of interesting. It is kind of, and then I'm just like wondering, what is the big significant? Why are they so like? Why do they need Mark? Why do they need Mark so much? You know,
I think it's because of his wife. Because at the end of like season, the end of episode 1 of season 2, where it's like he's working on that. What was it called? Gold something file. They were like, in episode 2, they were like, oh, he has to come back. We can't do this without him. And then you go back to episode 1 of season 2, and it's because they mentioned that case, and when he's working on it, there's like, it flashes to the little TV screen, and it's like his wife's face, but it's got like a DNA strand. It says 68% complete. So I'm like, they're working on something where it's like, I reckon they're trying to bring Keir back, the guy that they all, the very founder. I think they're trying to clone him or bring him back. Hence, like, working with the wife's body or whatever. I don't. But then again, she could actually be alive but trapped down there, because it was suggested that there are people that work 24/7 down there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. She could be alive potentially, but because he said that the body was burnt, Mark, so you can't really tell if he identified her. But it's something to do with cloning, or it's kind of mirroring hell as well, because you got like his sister's name's Persephone, and it's like kind of the two women that he loves are both down in hell, kind of trying to rescue them.
Interesting.
So, he's got Hell Eve, which is hell, and then he's got his Audi's wife Gemma, and he's trying to kind of go through the 9 circles of hell to get his wife back, in a sense. It's kind of that kind of what do you call it, mirroring that
I get what you're talking about. Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't even think about that, because I don't know, I'm not well versed in all that, but I mean, 100% Severance is just top notch. It's just top notch, and I watched. It's just like one of those shows where I'm like, I mean, I didn't watch it Friday, and I was like, all right, when I get out of bed, that's the one, turn on my computer, check some things, and then I immediately went to the couch with my coffee, and I was like, all right, turn everything off and watch the latest episode. It's just so freaking good, and
I know that the binging method is obviously not profitable when it comes to business, but it's like, I just wish that I could binge it, because it's just so addictive. It's we're gonna wait a whole week.
Trust me. I want to I've been tempted to just wait until the entire season rolls out, and then I'll watch it. But then you go online and you go online and you start seeing spoilers. So I'm like, I can't do that, because I've already had to avoid spoilers yesterday when the new episode premiered. So. But anyways, let's start bringing in some more people. We got Eric right here. What's happening, man?
Picture it. Sicily, 1935.
What is that?
Dude, it's Golden Girls.
Oh, Golden Girls.
Okay.
You remember the running gag that Sophia always when they're sitting around, they're talking about an issue whenever, and it reminds her of something, so she tells a story, goes, picture it, Sicily, blah 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 blah, and it's always her alleged interaction with a historical figure.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that aspect. But like I said, I'm still in season 1. I think that was more in the later seasons where they were really running that gag. They were still trying to find their footing, at least where I'm at right now. But yeah,
pretty much, because I'm reasonably sure I've seen every episode, because when I was at USF, one of the channels I would always have on, it's like after I come back to the apartment from classes, I would I would have there could be a couple of channels that I would always have on, and one of them was Hallmark, because it had reruns of the classic sitcoms. Like, it had Golden Girls, it had Cheers, it had Frasier, and it had I Love Lucy. So because of that, I became very familiar with a lot of those shows. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen every episode of Golden Girls multiple times because of that.
I know, I've seen many. It's funny, because I know there's an episode where Quentin Tarantino shows up as an Elvis impersonator. Quentin Tarantino shows up in an episode of Golden Girls as an Elvis impersonator. I don't know which season it is. It's in the later seasons, I know that, but it's funny.
Yeah, I forget which season it is, but it's like it's at the final scene of the first part of a 2-part episode involving Sophia, and it's like, yeah, he's one of many Elvises that for whatever reason they're there, and they all get up and sing. And the thing is, Quentin, he's not as noticeable as Quentin because he's dressed as Elvis, but the one that you can tell which one is him because he's the only 1950s Elvis. All the others were like,
he's not in the jumpsuit. He's wearing like
the basic suit. Yeah, he's wearing a basic suit. Yeah, all the others are like flashy and like, or either in the black leather jacket of the 60s or the flashy suit of the 70s or whatever. But he's the 50s Elvis.
Yeah, that's true. And we got Jade. What's going on, Jade?
What is up, guys? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're good.
Gotcha. So you probably noticed that I completely upgraded from my phone last time.
Yes, you did. Nice. Yes. Now you're looking professional right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got microphone too.
Thank you. I got like a 1440p camera from Walmart, and I'm actually pretty much running everything off a Steam Deck. So I don't know if you guys are probably aware of what a Steam Deck is, but
yes,
it's basically one of those like mini gaming PCs. But I'm pretty much running everything on here from now on.
There you go. See, upgrading yourself. Nothing wrong with that. You know, you got fun to do that.
I'm gonna be upgrading myself because, like, as time goes on, as I save up more, I'm really thinking of getting like full on desk and microphone and all that jazz. Because not just for here, I'm also thinking of like going full on. I'm gonna actually use my YouTube channel and set up my own show.
Do it.
Absolutely.
What's wrong with that, man? Get your voice out there. And then, of course, we have RJ showing up. What's going on, RJ?
Yo, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Living life.
How you feeling? Are you feeling confident tomorrow there, Eagles fan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not. The thing is, I'm not going to be mad whatever happens tomorrow because the Commanders, they deserve it too. It's like one of those things where like I hate that team. Where it's like I don't want them to win. It's like if they win, I'd be happy for them, honestly.
Yeah. But on that note, do you guys know about the whole quote unquote conspiracy theory about the Super Bowl logos?
Yes.
Yeah, but now the thing is, what it really is that the NFL, like, they have their best analysts at the beginning of every playoff, and the colors are basically their guess as to what teams are going to make it. But now, oftentimes they're right, oftentimes they're wrong. In which case, they do update the colors and send out the new logo. But But in this case, the prediction has been from the beginning, clearly it's red and green. In other words, Chiefs and Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's not the exact like green of the Eagles, but
it's more like a lime green.
Yeah.
Probably because they were kind of maybe remotely holding out the possibility of the Packers, but who knows?
Yeah, or even the Seahawks. It looks like
I said, I would be genuinely surprised if the Bills win tomorrow. Not because I don't want the Bills to win.
I know.
I don't mind either way. But it's just every single time Patrick Mahomes has played against Josh Allen in the playoffs, in the AFC Championship, he's beat him every single time.
No.
Maybe this will be the one time he finally wins, but
it's time. They got to start the broadcast. They better be showing some Haley Steinfeld and less Taylor Swift this time. Show Steinfeld. We want to see Steinfeld.
She never goes to his games. She just doesn't go. Which is fine. I mean,
I think she does though, but they just. I think maybe there's. I mean, I remember seeing like there's been social media
posts now though. Like I rarely see her do songs anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't really do much when it comes to that kind of stuff. But
it's more acting now.
Yeah, it's just strictly acting.
Plus, too, let's be fair too. If they show her on the screen, it's like, who's that? You show Taylor Swift, it's like, oh, I know who Taylor Swift is.
Yeah, so but I think that's a good thing. I think she prefers that. It's like, hey, I'm here to support, my fiance. I don't need to, wave at the camera and be like, haha. But I'm just saying, in my opinion, she's just better to look at. That's all. She's much better to look at. Nothing against Taylor. She's still looking, but overrated. Anyways, what? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, but anyway, it's like I'm a Steelers fan. My dad's a Rams fan, so obviously that's who we were rooting for. But obviously, neither of them making it. I was kind of rooting for the Lions though, because
I was too.
Yeah, because because again, it's like it's such a great story that the nobody team that everybody dismisses on instinct has finally gotten good for the past few years, and it's like, and each time they get closer and closer to the Super Bowl, but it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. I thought they were going to take the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, your plays is joining right now. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, what's up? What's up, guys?
You know, yeah, we're just talking some things, some football, some Golden Girls. You know, just normal conversations on a Saturday night. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Enjoying the high life, really, and enjoying life.
Yeah, there you go. What you got to do. Yeah. So I appreciate you joining right now. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's I don't know if anybody here seen Boy versus the World or Boy Kills the World. I always want to say versus. Have you seen that movie with Bill Skarsgård?
I've seen the trailers. I haven't seen the movie.
I've seen the trailers as well, but I've never seen the film.
Okay, check it out. It's actually not bad. I mean, it's over the top and ridiculous, sure, but I was actually surprised by it. There's like some dramatic elements. There's some twists, and not bad. Like good fight choreography. I mean, especially if you need a palate cleanse from the Crow movie that he was in, this is the movie that you can watch and be like, oh, okay, there you go. There's Bill Skarsgård, you know, doing kicking ass the way, you know. I'm not saying the Crow was all bad. There was some, you know, that little final thing where he was fucking up all the dudes at the end was kind of cool, but I mean, overall, it just was not a good movie.
Well, although to be fair, Skarsgård was a Count Orlok, right?
He was what?
Yeah, Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah, Nosferatu. Yeah. No. He was great in that. He was great in that. Yeah. So I mean, but I'm saying if you need an action film that's based off of an existing material, you know, that I mean, I guess Nosferatu also is too. But but at the same time, I'm just saying if you need an action role, Skarsgård.
Then again, Nosferatu came out in the 20s, so it's a warranted reboot. It's a long time.
Yeah, as the illegal adaptation of Dracula, right?
Yeah, it's basically Dracula, but like a German adaptation of it from the 1920s. They didn't have the rights.
Exactly. Because they made sure to change everything because they didn't want to get sued, but they got sued anyway. Kind of funny story.
They had to delete all the footage, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know if that had a release because Bram Stoker, his wife, tried to kill all of that, and she succeeded. The footage still survived in some capacity, and eventually it made its way to public content.
Although a little trivia note, like Nosferatu, the original Nosferatu from the 20s, is the origin of the whole trope of sunlight killing vampires. Because before that, and you get that in the Coppola's version of Dracula, where Anthony Hopkins he narrates and says, contrary to popular belief, the vampire, like any night creature, can move about during the day. It's just not his natural habitat, so he's weaker. Now, but the whole trope about sunlight killing a vampire came from Nosferatu, basically because they wanted to end the story quickly.
Yeah. Wait, you tell me that vampires don't sparkle whenever they walk into sunlight?
Not quite.
Yeah.
Oh, I do love that. I know I'm wearing my Battinson shirt right here, and I do love the fact that recently, I think it was like in a recent interview with Robert Pattinson. Obviously, he's doing some marketing for Mickey 17, which I'm very much looking forward to. He did say, like, when people still talk about his Twilight roles, he goes, "You still on that shit?" You know, I love his quote. I've been saying that forever. Like when people go into my mentions and talk about him as Batman, it's like,
Twilight Boy.
Twilight Boy, yeah, it's so stupid.
Sparkly Batman. I mean, I've made the jokes. I made the jokes, of course, because I just do that. But when I see people, that are like, "Oh, he's not as big. He needs to get more, bigger and this, that, and this," I'm like, "What? No, he looks fine. He's in shape. What are we doing here? It's not that type of Batman. Come on."
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that if you look at Golden Age Batman when he's like year 1, year 2, he is skinny. He's
lean.
Lean, yeah. The one with he's got the cowl and the purple gloves, and he had the guns at the time because he's originally a hard-boiled film noir detective because that's when he was created. He looks exactly like that. He doesn't get bulked until like the Silver Age where he starts getting tanked.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, and on that note, speaking of like the differing elements of the mythology, I think we would have to ask Scott about. I think Scott would know more about this than anyone else. But when did the Batman mythology? When did the trope start about Alfred being a former MI6 agent? When did that start?
That's a good question.
Sorry, Trap. That was roughly about I would say that was about the Neil Adams run, the 70s, which was an iconic run. You know, Neil Adams, the 70s, not the Silver Age, the Bronze Age. That's roughly when that happened. Because before that, he was just like what you would see in Tim Burton's Batman, where he was just a butler, an eloquent butler for a rich person. But it's not until like about Neil Adams' run about that time, the 80s, late 70s, where he's like, oh, he's MI6. But but there are some depictions where he has trained Batman, but I also prefer the ones where he goes off and just trains by himself, where he's like learning from a sword master, and then he learns Taekwondo, and then he learns Jiu-Jitsu, and he travels the world for like 15 years mastering every martial arts rather than just having like Ra's al Ghul teach him or Alfred teach him.
Yeah.
He also learns escapism from Zatara and then how to control pain. Like there's a whole thing to it. He learns all these things where it's
No, the escapism. I remember in the Zatanna episode of Batman the Animated Series, they kind of show that. Which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I mean that is an interesting. Yeah, I would say that. Probably they did something like that in the 70s or something.
Yeah.
Just to add a little bit more backstory to like he's not just a butler, he's kind of a badass, and it's like
I like the idea that he uses guns too. Like there's that classic kind of comic panel where it's like, you'll find that I don't share the same niceties as my master, and then he clocks the shotgun. It's like, he's going to shoot you in the face.
Exactly. No, it's cool. Like I love that kind of stuff. But I know. I just the whole Battinson thing and stuff like that. It's just like, he doesn't need to be huge. I mean, I think there needs to be when it comes to the superhero genre, it's like, you don't need to be super jacked. That's what's so funny. Is like everybody emphasizes the whole thing. You have to be like this super huge jacked person, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but it's cool for when you have your shirtless scene when you got the baby oil on you and you do all that, sure. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, why do you need? I mean, like, it was, I don't know.
It's also not practical because he's a trained ninja. He could literally fight 100 ninjas naked and beat them. It's not about being buff. He's athletic. He can do all kinds. He can hide in plain sight, and he can grab onto the ceiling and hang there. It's impractical when you're like 120 kilos of pure muscle.
Yeah, I mean, I think like when it comes to the later years, I mean, it's more understandable because he needs more of that muscle, and maybe he's not going to move around maybe as quickly as he once did, but the muscle does help. He keeps in shape. It keeps him going and everything like that. Sure, but at the same time, if you're talking about an earlier Batman, it's like he can be leaner. He could be but at the same time, it's like when you're talking about superheroes, like where it's just like you have to just be like super jacked. And I mean, it got to a point where it was like that, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with like certain types of that. But at the same time, I'm just like, it doesn't always need to be like, just crazy. You got to gain 40 pounds of muscle, just to like do a role. And it's like, I don't know. It just gets a little too crazy, I think, sometimes. Even like, what's that?
I was going to say, too, where we're at with the genre, too, it's also like, if you're trying to attract more actors who want to jump in on this stuff when we've been so bombarded with this stuff, you got to be a little bit more flexible with, like, your age range or body types, too. Yeah, it's just because we have had so many actors already do this stuff. It's like, there's not a lot of people out there, who jump into this stuff right now.
Well, I mean, like, even like look at how Hugh Jackman looked in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like, yeah, he looked great. And especially when he got his shirt rip scene where he was just shredded. But at the same time, I'm like, you are dehydrated for a fucking day. You are, who knows what the hell. And I'm just kind of going like, and I remember when people were on Twitter were posting like, his first appearance as Wolverine in the first X-Men movie. And I was like, and people were going, he looks fine in the first X-Men movie. Like he's not super shredded, but he's still in great shape. And it's like, that's fine. I mean, it's just like it doesn't need to be like, but again, they're like, oh, we gotta make it look like the comic book. But I'm like, it's
and not everybody needs to look like they walked out of a Frank Miller or Rob Liefeld drawing. It's okay.
And Wolverine had like a very kind of like a physique that people could attain. There was still a bit of fat on there, but he was muscle. You know, it just looked like an ordinary kind of tanked person. It didn't look like anything extraordinary. But as it went along, like I think it wasn't until like past the third film where he's like starts doing the individual films where he's getting more and more jacked.
The X-Men Origins.
It was normal, relatively.
I mean, for me personally, right, if you're gonna get jacked, it'd be something like for Superman or for Spider-Man, Captain America. Those types of roles you have to be jacked up for, right?
Yeah, and even for Superman, I mean, Christopher Reeve, I mean, it's not like his suit demanded that he be shredded. I mean, he did bulk up a bit, like David Prowse like trained him, like coached him in his like workout so he would bulk up, but he wasn't shredded because his suit didn't require him to be shredded.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. It's like it's more like what is it, like the swimmer build kind of, or like
athletic triangle
man, you know.
Yeah, but then they just do that whole thing where it's like, okay, on this day you're doing your shirtless scene, so dehydrate, do all that, do what bodybuilders do. And it's just like, okay, yeah, the actor wants to look good. I mean, it's a glamour shot. I mean, they even did that with fucking Paul Rudd, for God's sakes, for Ant-Man. Yeah. I was like, I mean, good for Paul Rudd. He got his one little shot where he's leaned up and he's just like flexing. And I'm like,
but you know what though? That stuff, they call it the beefcake. You know, where it's just like that stuff works to bring in women.
It does. It does. I'll give it
does. It really
does. Grace Randolph, speak on the whole beefcake thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not sexy enough. It's not beefcake enough. She was saying that about Superman. It's like, oh, they're all not beefcake enough. They're not all sexy enough.
Exactly. That's why I've always said about the classic 80s action movies with the guys being shredded, because how like all the like experts and stuff, like the running joke is that like 80s action movies are like are coded gay or whatever. It's like, well, sure, but it's not all of it. It's because they're shredded like that. And you show them off the muscles so that guys can bring their girlfriends to the theater and the girlfriends will have a fun time too.
Yeah, some eye candy to look at. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could look up and see, like, I mean, Stallone, I think, was like the most ripped ever, like when it came to Rambo and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I've watched some videos where he got to like fucking like 4% body fat, 3% body fat, and it's like, that's insane. You can't even like almost operate on
One of my favorite examples is the first Thor movie. Count how many scenes Chris Hemsworth has, where he's in the rain glistening. Like, that movie was made for the beefcake for the ladies.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, of course, and then you have a character who's, of course, just like loving it with Kat Dennings' character. I forgot her character's name. What's her name in that movie?
Darcy.
There it is. Yeah. So of course they're gonna, and then of course you have but at the same time it's like, and that's what I loved about, like, when you had Arnold and Stallone, and then of course Dolph Lundgren was in there, Jean-Claude Van Damme was in there, and they're all like these super dudes, and then all of a sudden it's like, here comes Bruce Willis with Die Hard, just an everyday man. Yeah, he's in shape. He's got shoulders. He's got pecs, but he doesn't have like this crazy ripped fucking 8-pack going on and all the stuff. And I'm like, there you go. And that's why people were like, look at that guy. He's just kind of like a normal guy who's in shape, Yeah,
it's one of the best things, because like when I first got the VHS of Die Hard, and on the back of it, there's obviously like the critic quotes about it. And Joel Silver had the quote. He's like, what he loved about Die Hard is like, Bruce Willis is not a comic book hero. He's a real guy. I was like, there you go.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like you have both. I mean, it is cool to see Schwarzenegger and Stallone doing like their thing where they're greased up and they're shooting the big guns and their arms are like bulging veins and everything. And they're just like, that's badass. Same with Lundgren. I love seeing Jean-Claude Van Damme doing his thing, doing those freaking split kicks and just going, ah! But then it's nice to see like a fucking Bruce Willis going, ah, just being like that. Oh my God, I'm just like you guys, kind of thing,
It's like, I swear I'll never get on a tall building again.
Exactly. It was just like a breath of fresh air, I guess.
Yep.
There's also something that you get that you go along with more, you identify with when they are normal and when they are the underdog. Because then it's like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Even though you probably can't because it's a movie, but there's like that sensation, like, you're watching, like, for example, we're talking about Severance, and it's like he's a completely random, normal person, but he's doing these things, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'd like to, I wish I could do those kinds of things, or like, I could do that. It's so much, like when they're like regular people, it's so much more to get into than, they're like absolutely jacked like a god. It's like, well, I can't really identify with
that. I can't really do that. Yeah. I know. Yeah. It's funny, but I have to. Hey, Eric, RC is still a thing.
Yes, it is. And not only is it a thing, like if you go to like at a Chevron gas station in particular, they have like where you can buy it for like $1.50, a 2-liter RC for
$1. Oh my God, dude! I mean, I sorry, I had to like point that out because my mom used to drink RC cola, which is Royal Crown Cola, whatever.
We'll tell her to stop by a Chevron. That's probably where she'll find one.
That is so crazy. I mean, like I haven't seen RC in so long. So when I saw you just pour that right now, I was like, wow. And not only is that, you have cherry RC. That's I did not think RC was. I thought that was gone forever. That is so funny. Wow.
I mean, like Dollar General sells RC, but it's always like basic RC. But Chevron sells the cherry.
Great. That is crazy. Sorry, I had to point that out. I don't know if anybody knows what RC cola is, but it's an American thing, of course, for anybody who's not out here. I don't know if anybody, but it was very much a 80s, 90s.
Yep.
Coke, it was like trying to rival Coca-Cola and Pepsi and all that, but it had its own distinct flavor.
And also, even back in Hollywood's golden age, it was one of the first times where they had, movie stars plugging in commercials, like they're plugging RC, like this is the soda I drink, and so on.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Wow, you just brought me back. I'm trying to remember that flavor. Yeah, jeez.
Oh yeah,
not as good as Coke, but it's fine.
Yeah, which is why it faded away, but folks who still remember that nostalgia could still have a nice bit of taste. And again, it's a nice deal. It's a nice deal. Again, $1.50 for a 2-liter. You can't beat that.
Can't beat that. That's pretty crazy. But all right. Well, I mean, obviously, I wanted to talk to you guys about like how we're feeling about this new DC universe. Obviously, being the main topic, and a lot of things happening right now. I mean, first off, we got this. Supergirl is currently in production right now, and we got our first look at it. I don't know how we're feeling about it. James, how you feeling about that first look?
It's it's not something that it's not a character that I'm particularly kind of blown away with. I'm very like big on Batman and massive on Batman and Superman. But like I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, it looks good. Like it's not much to see. It's just really the logo and her sitting. We don't know if she's wearing the hoodie as a costume or if that's just her outerwear and she's getting her hair done. It's not much to reveal, but it's good. It's just like, okay, we got our first kind of little teaser, but it's not like it's showing us like the final result or anything. It's, it's just like, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It's good tease, right? It's good tease. How are you feeling about it, Saladia?
Well, for me personally, I dig the fact that the first shot we got is in the bar scene.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's very important because at least that they're doing that part, and the fact that we got to see the logo as well, which I thought was very interesting of how they're going with the design, the logo design. Like it's going to be different to Superman's, and honestly, I'm looking forward to Supergirl, to be honest with you. And I really think that this film will shine.
I think it will. A strong, edgy female character, and not holding back and not just being like, oh yeah, it's just something, you know, it's based on a story. Like, I still haven't read it. I still have the book right there, and I know I will. I have it right there. It's you know, I will eventually read it, and obviously before the movie comes out. But I mean, to choose that story, and I've heard, I mean, even before they chose that story, you know, prior to 2022, you know, I've heard so many good things. I was like, I gotta get this book. I gotta get the full book to check this out, because I kept hearing great things about it. And then the fact that it was announced that, oh yeah, we're gonna do a Supergirl movie based upon that, it's gonna take heavily from that. I'm like, smart, absolutely smart. How you feeling about it, Eric?
Well, I'm just fascinated by, like, I do appreciate that every version of a Supergirl we've been getting lately is different. Now, obviously, there's the basic the blonde classic Supergirl for the CW show, and then there's Sasha Calle Supergirl in Flash, and then of course there's the version, the kind of edgy girl, like unhinged version in My Adventures of Superman, and now we're getting this one. So okay, well, kudos to them. It's like, instead of just going for one basic version, where it's like so many real DC fans like only say one version of Superman and that's it. It's like, no. They're different. There are different elements of the character that each version can emphasize. So, like, I am interested to see what they're going to go with this one.
How you feeling about it, Jade?
Can I be completely honest with you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I also still haven't even read it at all.
So you're in the same ballpark as I am, so it's good.
Yeah, and I live near Syracuse in New York, and we usually go up to the Destiny Mall that's like 30 minutes away. And they have like a pretty nice comic book shop inside the actual mall itself. I actually picked up something from there today.
Ooh, show it. There it is.
All right.
You got the Dark Crisis here. Let me Dark Crisis. There you go. Show that beautiful cover right there. Love it.
Yeah, I got that one, and then pretty much the basic Under the Red Hood and the Nightfall books.
Great
yeah.
series.
But yeah, I think was it Supergirl Girl of Tomorrow that it's based on?
Woman of Tomorrow, yeah.
Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah, it was actually on one of the shelves for like $10 a while back, but when we went there again today, it was not on the shelf anymore. So I probably missed my chance on getting it on that. But they still have the Superman one. That Superman's also pretty much based off of too, but I'll probably be grabbing that next stop I make over there. But as for the semi kind of reveal, I honestly didn't really think too much of it. I know that the bar scene is apparently like a pretty big deal whenever it comes to everything that it's based off of, but honestly, I'm waiting for the suit just to kind of see how everything looks. But I'll still be definitely checking it out, especially with Momoa finally being Lobo after all these years that he's been kind of manifesting on it. So, but yeah, I'll definitely be checking it out still too.
Yeah,
sure.
Who knows? Sorry.
Well, we gotta get RJ's.
He got to save his fellow DC plant for last.
Yes, exactly.
No, I mean, I'm just excited that this movie is finally getting made, that it's becoming tangible. You know, I read the comic. I got it from the library. I read it. It's one of my favorite comics I've read in quite a number of years. Mm-hmm. It's a very, like, the premise is super simple. It's literally True Grit, but with Supergirl. But the way that it does the story, like, it's a very simple premise, but how it takes that general concept and does its own take on that story, like Lone Wolf and Cub, True Grit kind of thing. It's very well done. I think it's going to be a really, I mean, again, it's a bonkers science fiction adventure movie. It's a drama. It's got action. It's got, like, you know, it's got a very flawed main character. I'm going to be very curious to see how people react to it, because the Supergirl in this story, of staying true to this book, she's a messed up person. Like, she's super flawed. Like, she is someone who genuinely just kind of hates himself in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I might even just say, like, you know, it was one of the things that I've been thinking about is like, I would not, I mean, there's a lot riding on Superman, but that's Superman. We've had numerous Superman, you know, content. There's a lot riding on it. And I know there's going to be a lot riding on it, but I would not be surprised if Supergirl ends up being almost like more of a critical darling and more well received, just because people are like, holy shit, that's a Supergirl I've never seen. It's gonna be. I mean, I'm not like trying to like say like Superman's like, you know, totally gonna, you know, flop or something like that. I definitely don't believe that. I think Gunn has tried to find that balance, which I've always said, between Donner and Snyder.
I think Supergirl is like the representation of what the DCU actually could be, because it's another director stepping in. It's kind of getting out of the shadow of just being the James Gunn show, where it's like, yeah, this other director coming in. It's a very different story. It's allowing someone else to kind of come into the sandbox and do something with it. And that, to me, is going to be really important, because this is the first movie that he really doesn't have as much involvement with. So it's kind of like, okay, if you don't like the James Gunn stuff, this universe still has stuff that like may interest you, you know?
Yeah.
I can see it being like Barbie in terms of like, when I was like watching that, you could see how like women of all ages, you know, just looking at their reactions, they could all identify with it. It was something that they all loved. It was like kind of reminiscent of like when they would play with Barbies, and it was like, I reckon that could happen similarly with Supergirl. Like I can see like how like my sister loved it when she was young, and my, you know, other people that I know. So it's like, I can see that being very popular amongst like not only, you know, like men as well, but like I think it's going to be very female centric as well, that I think could really do well. And it's so completely different to what Superman is, so you're showing that variety.
And I think that's why because in the original comic, everyone's talking about this, but Lobo is not in the original comic at all.
No,
and I think the reason they did that is because, and this isn't a problem with the story, mind you, I think this is just them looking at it from the perspective of, okay, this is a very female-centric story. Really, the most major male character is the villain. So, like, let's add, like, some more male energy. And who has more male energy than Jason Momoa, you know? So if you just want to have, like, some more, you know, guy appeal, I guess, maybe that's another reason, too. They kind of threw that character in that
selling point. It's a good selling point with Momoa, and he's not. I mean, just judging, and I keep on saying, is like, just like when he showed his script, it seemed like that script was no more than 8 pages, 9 pages, maybe 10.
It's going to be a small role.
It's going to be a scene that he is a part of. It's not going to just be a cameo. He's going to support a certain scene that happens, and then that's it. And I think they're going to gauge the reaction, and it almost seems like there's already talks about even a Lobo
David
movie.
Lynch is like manifesting the movie.
Yeah.
He's all about it. He's said it twice, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. If they can make something with that, if I think they're going to probably gauge on like how people are reacting to Momoa, and I think there's already a pretty good reaction. I mean, this thing has been in the making for so long. Because he's wished this into existence before he got Aquaman, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And so I think like it's always just been out there. It's always been a possibility. And I think they already have like, okay, so if we can make, if the final product that when we actually see, when the public, the audience sees what he looks like, sees him in action, they go like, yeah, we want more of that. Then they're going to be like, all right, can we make like a Lobo movie for less than $100 million? Again, DC needs these wins that are low budgets so that they don't have to make a cajillion dollars at the box office.
So
and
that into something I want to ask you real quick too, because there was this article that came out from, I think it was Variety, where they kind of looked at Warner Brothers' slate, and they kind of looked at like some of the moves going on, where like the marketing guy
I think I saw this one.
And the blurb they had where they looked at the slate that Warner Brothers has this year, it's a lot of like original films, a lot of stuff from like these well-known directors, and they looked at this and they're looking at the slate, and they basically said that their box office prospects for this year rely on Superman. And the blurb that they said was, July 11th is D-Day, and if Superman cannot storm the beaches of Normandy, people are in trouble.
Yeah,
that was their quote from an analyst. So I'm like, I know there's a lot of pressure on this movie. I don't know if it's like that bad, But I've always maintained this, where it's like whatever this movie does, succeed or fail, I just want it to be a good movie. That's my number one priority.
All we can really ask for is a good movie.
If it doesn't do well, and this is all we get, at least I just want a good Superman movie out of this. But I do think there is this is probably the comic book movie that has had the most pressure on it. We've probably seen in over a decade plus.
Probably since
movies writing on everything.
I'd say since the Phantom Menace, Star Wars hasn't been around for 20 years, and it's like you're starting with number one. And it's like it had to deliver. I reckon it's like Phantom Menace.
Well, it's a little bit like that because at the same time, it was because when it came to Henry Cavill and Snyderverse, it was so divisive. There was a divisive thing, but at the same time, when the Snyder Cut came out, people just kind of went well, okay, now I understand what he was doing. That was one of the things that was kind of great about when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, and when people watch, especially diehard Superman fans. I even talked to some. I even had some that came on. They came on the Vodka stream like a diehard Superman fan, and he was critical about BVS and Man of Steel. And then he went, "Oh, now I get what the hell he was trying to do." And I was like, "All right, yeah, there you go." It was a different interpretation. It was whatever. Gunn is doing something where it's a balance, where it's it's going to be fantastical, more comic booky, little Donner, little Snyder. Right there. Yeah,
I think mixing between. That's right.
Yeah.
And besides, what exactly do people mean when they say they want that the Superman movie has to be successful? I think
that's the big thing. We don't know what their metric of success is for this movie.
Yeah,
it's so hard to tell.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm just reminded of how Batman v Superman made $800 million at the box office. So by all accounts, that was in and of itself very successful, but because it didn't make $1 billion, apparently it was a failure.
Right, because it all depends on what the person in charge deems as what success or not. I don't know what David Zaslav wants from this movie.
Yeah,
I don't know what the shareholders.
Well, they all want $1 billion. Those guys always want $1 billion.
But the thing is, though, did they talk? And William has said this a million times, and I agree with them. Did they at least sit down with the shareholders and the executives, and be like, "Hey, we're kind of building from a pile of rubble. To lay a foundation."
That could be something right there, yeah.
Because if they didn't have that conversation, they do expect to make $1 billion. I think they're in trouble because I'm excited for this movie.
It's not going to make $1 billion, though.
It's not going to make $1 billion.
Yeah, there's no way.
I reckon they know that, though. You're starting this whole thing from scratch. You've got to rebuild the fan base. You've got to kind of build the general audience. Well, DC's been in a really bad slump for a long time now. You're not going to come out swinging with a home run. You have to this has to at least make maybe 650, 700, 750.
That's what I think it's going to make.
And I think the main it has to be mainly critically successful, as a really great film first, but that doesn't necessarily equate to being a box office hit. You look at Blade Runner. Blade Runner's a masterpiece. It was a flop. It's like that. It's and
it's a damn
it has to at least be very good.
Yeah. That's what's so crazy about this stuff too. And then I always look at Spider-Man, when you look at the Spider-Man franchise, Spider-Man 3 was a box office bomb, not a bomb, but a box office explosion. It totally made money, but it was a critical, critics did not like it. Audience was kind of what the fuck? There was too much going on.
Well, even
they were like, hey, let's reboot it. They get Amazing Spider-Man that does, well. And then when it came to Amazing Spider-Man 2, I don't know if it really did good at the box office.
No, but that's what's crazy. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think, made 700 plus million. Okay. It was a really successful movie.
Okay, so it was. Yeah,
it was. Remember. But they were still people didn't like this.
Let's didn't like it.
Our plans and go to Disney and be like, "Hey, you guys want to help us make Spider-Man movies? We need help." I'm like, "You made $700 million." I mean, at the time, I wasn't complaining as a fan, but I'm like, "You made all that money and you still were like, we need help. Let's go to our competition and ask them to bail us out."
See, that's the thing with Superman as well. If the budget's only 150 million or 200 million, then 750 million is successful.
Oh, totally.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
it's always about 2.5 to 3 times the budget, the production budget that they want to look at.
That's why I don't believe the whole like it's 350 million bullshit. Because like, why would you set yourself up for failure and you have to make $1 billion back to break even?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I don't believe like they would start with like a $350 million.
I could believe the 350 million number if that was with marketing added to it.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
I can
also probably be like the most expensive marketing campaign they've done in a long time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, but I mean, like it's. Yeah, I think Gunn. I mean, I think he's smart with his budget, just like other directors can be very smart with the budget. I mean, going back to even Zach was always smart with his budgets too. It's like if you have a filmmaker that just really knows, like, hey. You know what your budget is. You got to work with your budget. You know what, within your means. I mean, that's the thing is like, and I think Gunn has always been, he learned that aspect. Maybe he even learned it from Zach or talking to Zach or talking with many other people. Who knows? I mean, like that filmmakers, they talk to each other. Yeah, they might not be the closest friends, but there's a lot of things that they learn from each other, from working from each other. And you kind of like, one of the big things is like, yeah, you don't want to be, I think like when budgets get really inflated is with a director that doesn't really know that kind of stuff. It doesn't really like, is not locked into the business side of that. They're just like, hey, I just need this. I want to do this and want to do this. And then the studio goes, no, we want this. So we got to reshoot this. And then everything just gets out of control and crazy because they can manipulate that person. And I think like when it comes to filmmakers like a Snyder, like a Ridley Scott, like a even a James Gunn, and that's what's great about DC Studios is like it's its own thing. So now you don't have the Warner Brothers suits up in the fucking in the tower looking down, drinking their scotch and being like, well, we don't like that. And he's like, no, we are our own thing. I don't have to listen to you fully. Yes, there's certain things I still have to listen, but creatively, that's me, buddy. And I'm going to do this. And I think, that's just something that's been obviously big time missing when it comes to DC.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a third question that needs to be answered whenever the Superman movie does come out this year. Obviously you got whether it's good. Second question on whether it makes the box office. Third question is though, will it be universally beloved?
Yeah. I mean, that is the thing.
Pop culture.
Like if people are gonna accept Corn Sweat, and stuff like that,
Like it's gonna be like Christopher Reeve Superman, in the zeitgeist is like.
I mean, I think it's just like the main characters. Do they have an impact with people? Is Rachel Brosnahan gonna be like, oh my god, everybody's gonna fall in love with her?
I wouldn't ask this with that question though, and I would just suggest it to her. It's like, how is the general audience going to react to this? Will this be universally loved and accepted by them because they are the most important group?
Yeah.
We're the diehard comic book fans. We're going to show up for this stuff no matter what. Even if we complain about it, we're still going to come back for more because we love these characters. But it's really the general audience, the people who have been burnt out on DC, like from the normie perspective, where it's like, can this capture their attention and get them to be like, oh, I want to see what DC does next, because like that's the most important thing. Of course, you need to build momentum. Like if Supergirl is showing up in this movie, for example, you got to make a good movie that's like, oh, I want to see more of the Supergirl character. I'll go see that movie when it comes out. That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it does correspond with what you've brought up many times, Dave. About how like James Gunn is going for a middle of the road between the nostalgia-based Superman, which we saw with Brandon Routh in a Superman Returns, or the more realistic Superman with Henry Cavill in Man of Steel. But he's like in the halfway point in between those two. So hopefully, and the hope is that he's achieved that, is that he'll more have achieved that sweet spot where the mainstream audience, the normies, will get it.
Yeah, very true. And then we got Brad joining right now. What's going on, Brad?
Hey, what's
up?
Yeah, what's up? How's it going, everybody? I'm coming in. Apparently, there's some Superman and DC talk happening tonight.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. We've been talking about Golden Girls episodes.
What's your favorite episode of the Golden Girls, Brad?
Oh, I don't know. I think Betty White was in it though.
Yeah, she definitely was.
Yeah,
no, but yeah, we're talking Superman and stuff like that, and just kind of where we're at right now when it comes to this new DCU and with the Supergirl reveal or kind of reveal or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I just kind of get my quick thoughts on that. So,
yeah, go ahead.
It's not. I didn't really get too. I didn't have a lot of thoughts to really share on social media about that because it's it's a set photo, but it's not like a set photo of her in costume or of a scene or anything. It's the chair showing it's going to be the Kingdom Come logo again, and it's basically saying okay, we've gotten started on it, which is if you're looking forward to seeing Supergirl Woman tomorrow, that's definitely it's definitely cool news to hear. But it's other than that, it's I kind of want a little bit more to go on as far as my thoughts on what this is shaping up to be. I mean, obviously, I think probably the big thing a lot of people are waiting on is seeing the first look of Jason Momoa as Lobo.
Yeah.
And I mean, her in costume, I think obviously will definitely be a big kind of a focal point for a lot of people too. But to just kind of get my thoughts on it straight up front. It's it's a set photo. They're started rolling Kingdom Come logo. All right, show me what you got.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is people familiar with the book and noticing that, it's that bar sequence. Yeah. And it's very much pivotal when it comes to that. And it's just I think it was a perfect amount of of a tease of just okay, there she is. She's got because we're kind of wondering what's the hair going to look like. Is it going to be long? Going to be short? It's definitely going to be long. And it looks like her logo is the Kingdom Come logo, but it's not going to have might not have the yellow background. It might just be a transparent background, which is totally cool, And it's just, and then of course seeing the blurry, the way it's shot, the way that image was taken. I was okay, it's definitely anybody who's familiar with that book is going to know that. Oh, and then. I always say, one of the things that I think might help the DCU and the fact that they're really trying to embrace some of these books and try to help the sales of these books, which is of course working, is, it's always fun. It's okay, you show this and then people who are not in the know, if you're in the know, just tell that person what's in the know. It's fun to do that. I like doing that. Anytime when I get questions asked, I get texts from friends. If I'm in the movie theater with people and there's, we're watching a trailer for something, I love it when they look to me what the fuck? Or they send me a screenshot. Did you see that there's a trailer for A Dark Knight with Christian Bale coming back? My brother texted me that. He sent me his picture. I'm that's not real. That's fake. But at the same time, I kind of love, it's kind of fun being that. Where you're hey, I'll explain it to you. I mean, I did that, obviously when it came to, BVS especially. I mean, I remember when people were what was going on when Batman was in a trench coat and there was those flying guys? I was well, those are parademons. There's this, there's that. So basically what's going on? Oh, that person that was showing up in the Batcave, that was the Flash. He can travel through time. This is how, you kind of just, there's just a fun aspect of kind of knowing that stuff and explaining it. So yeah, I mean, that's what kind of makes it fun, and hopefully tying it to certain comic books and the fact that DC's kind of taken that part serious. I wish they would have taken that serious when Zach was doing stuff, and they could have tied more to the books, Dark Knight Returns and Death of Superman and Birthright and certain books that he was referencing.
Well, with BVS, it's interesting. You're trying to I link it to the comics it was based on because Dark Knight Returns, obviously it's a big one. Death of Superman, I don't know. I feel that would have been a little bit trickier because even though we knew from the trailer Doomsday was in the movie, it's that maybe tipping their hat too much. It's he will be dying in this movie too.
Yeah.
So,
well, it was just kind of one of those things because I even said it last night. I mean, I remember I was sitting next to my good friend Johnny. We were watching it, and I started doing the whole I was literally tapping him on the chest. I'm they're doing it. They're doing it. They're doing it. As soon as he looked at
I love you you're
you're
my world.
You're my world. This is my world. You're my world. I was they're doing it. They're fucking, dude, Superman's dying. He's dying. Doomsday's killing him. Of course, it did it in a different way. Not the same way as in the books, but it was just I knew. I was oh, it's coming because we always suspected because it is Doomsday. But it's just one of those things where you just oh my god.
Part of me wonders if they and this might be an interesting question to ask this actor directly is if they could go back as far as if they could change anything about the marketing, like what if they didn't show Doomsday at all? Like in the
I
marketing,
wish they did.
That would have been like
really
like once when he that scene when he hatches, like I born to destroy you, you're Doomsday. I mean that would, because we would not have seen that coming at all.
Yeah,
so.
And I don't want to know the pipeline either, but like remembering what the discourse was like.
Yeah.
Back in like when did that trailer come out? It was like 2016, like what, January, like 2 months ago.
Doomsday one, I think.
9 years ago. 9 years ago.
I know.
I think it might have been 2015 actually.
Again, not to bring up old discourse or get into a whole pipeline of like that kind of talk, but I just remember when that Doomsday trailer came out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, good or bad, I just remember people to start turning against that movie.
Yeah, that was a bad marketing decision for sure.
Very. Because it really came off like, just like with Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, they were cramming, it looked like they were cramming way too much into it. Now, it wasn't the case with BVS, but it looked like from the trailer that they were just throwing in everything but the kitchen sink with this movie.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing is like, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, that would have been like the market. That would add like a lot of mystery also going to the movie, because I mean the whole idea of like it's Batman versus Superman, but also this is, I mean, obviously they're also intending to set up Justice League, so that, I mean, that just leaves us with questions going in, like, how are they possibly going to end this?
And I know why they did it, because I feel like they wanted that final trailer to show the Trinity together, to be like, hey, look, guys, like, this is a big movie. Look, we got the Trinity together on screen for the first time.
But that's what sucks. That's what sucks, though, is like when you're marketing, I mean, like the beginning marketing was, it's Batman and Superman. They're going to fight. We're gonna get it on the big screen. Look at the teaser
and that Comic-Con trailer is one of the greatest trailers ever. I don't care.
Great.
Oh yeah,
it's a great trailer.
You're talking about when he lights up the bat signal and then Superman's floating and his eyes glow. Yeah, because that's not even in the movie. That's like a thing they created.
No, I'm talking about the second Comic-Con trailer.
Okay.
Showed the Robin suit. Like that to me was like one of the greatest trailers ever made.
Yeah. You're talking about We're Here for Truth. Justice.
Yes. When it started off with what's her name talking about
Holly Hunter.
See, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, that trailer was so well done, and so like, and everybody was hyped. But then they were like, we have to show the Trinity. We have to show them, and then it just kind of ruined. And that's what sucks about trailers. It's like that's why sometimes when I see I'll be on my timeline. This is for just regular movies. And I know there's going to be like a movie about something that's pretty crazy where I'm like going, I don't know if I want to watch the trailers. I want to go in more fresh. Like, for instance, there's a movie, the companion movie that's coming out next week. I kind of wish I didn't know, because that first trailer that you saw, the teaser, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, the companion trailer with Sophie, what's her name, and Jack Quaid. Yeah. Where he has like a sex bot, that turns that can, she's like, and it wasn't originally, you didn't know that she was a robot at first, but that's the whole selling point of the whole movie, where it's like, I kind of wish I went, oh yeah, okay, there's a new trailer, and I was like, oh yeah, here's the new trailer, Sophie Thatcher, thank you. I was like going, okay, because when you watch the teaser, you have no idea what the hell's going on. Like, there's like a part where her hand's like burning at the dinner table, and it's like, how is she just kind of crying? And it's like, how is she withstanding that? It was there's so much mystery, but then you get the full trailer, it's like, oh, she's actually an artificial intelligence kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, that adds to it, and that's going to drive more people. But I'm like, sometimes I go, man, I wish I just didn't even fucking see that trailer, so I went in a little bit more fresh. But I mean, when it comes to these big comic book trailers, impossible to do that when they're trying to sell, like, hey, we got this, we got that, the stuff that you like, hey, it's here, and
that's what makes it so interesting too. It like taking this full circle back and like your first trailer out of the gate. Which I'm fine with it. We don't have the context for it, but you show Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Mansion, like you're showing, oh no, it's not just Superman in this movie. Which I do feel like is their marketing department being like, okay, let's show people that like this movie's more than just a ho-hum Superman origin movie. Like we got some other stuff in here too,
Which I thought that was a good idea. I thought that was a pretty good idea because it was showing the full world, and like I said, to me it felt like just a very expensive fan film because it was shots of characters, and that's why I'm really looking forward to the next one, where it's like, okay, now we're gonna get some more context of what is happening in the story.
More story,
but I mean,
dialogue, yeah.
Yeah, but this felt like, that's why, I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't even like a jab to it, but I was like, yeah, it felt like an expensive fan film trailer. That's what you would put if you were making a fan film. You would show like shots of Superman doing this, Superman and Lois floating around kissing, and you'd show like the other shots of like some other people and stuff like that. It still looked great. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed the trailer, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm looking forward to the next trailer where we actually go, oh, they're actually going to have to show some like story elements of like what is actually going on.
And they're still kind of maintaining like certain mystery around certain things. Like there's still this big guessing game everyone's playing about, like who is Ultraman, like who's under the Ultraman suit.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Oh God, if he actually does that,
hilarious.
All that bitterness is gone, man.
I really love the idea that it could be like the whole kind of the boys Black Noir being Homelander kind of spin on it. I think that'd be great. And it's like when he's in prison, you've got Ultraman pretending to be Superman, framing him. That's why he's arrested. And it's like then he turns into Bizarro. I think that'd be great if they did that.
Yeah, it could be something like that.
I don't think Gunn's like, I mean, everybody's just kind of inferring that that's Ultraman, but I don't think Gunn's like, has he said that's officially Ultraman?
No, of course not.
No,
but I think it's not. But there's like McFarlane, like
it's kind of like we can tell.
Yeah. So
I think the McFarlane line said that it was Ultraman on their release of toys coming out. That it said Ultraman.
I mean, his suit literally has a U.
It has the U on it. Yeah.
I mean,
I doubt it's Ulysses.
My theory still remains it's David Cornsweat and it's Bizarro.
Yeah.
Actually, what if it's Tyler Eklund under there or Brandon Routh?
Oh wow, imagine that.
Now Brandon Routh should be Jor-El.
Oh yeah.
That could be
I mean,
cool.
because I think the idea, I've said before, it's, I think Lex Luthor, he said, is the main villain. My hypothesis, my theory is that Lex Luthor, which again, similar to BVS, which I'm sure people are going to comment on if this is the case, he's going to frame Superman for doing something, which is why the public turns against him. He's got to clear his name. It's actually Ultraman. Like, it's probably going to be an amalgamation of stuff we've seen before, just done in a unique way.
Yeah.
That's why I reckon like the boys.
It's going to be like.
Oh yeah, it was back in regards of the McFarlane. I actually got a couple.
Back here. Whoa. Is that you, Jade?
No, I don't think so.
Hold on. Nope, that's not.
Testing 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3. Eric, it might be you. It is you.
All right, here we go again.
Yeah. Yeah. That was Eric's. That was getting that feedback. Sorry. Go ahead, Jade.
Oh no, you're good. So back to McFarlane, I got a couple. 2 of them are from the BVS line. So I actually have the Batman sitting right on my desk.
Oh, yeah.
I want that.
Did you get that new false god statue that's out now?
No. I don't know, because there's also like a little shop here too. I usually go in there every once in a while. They actually have the black suit Superman from the Snyder cut for McFarlane
I have
too.
that one over there. Yeah, I have the black suit.
Yeah, I just don't know about getting the one with Superman and Doomsday, the 2-pack. Just because whenever it comes to like some of the figures that I started kind of collecting, I'm all about like detail. And the face sculpt for the BVS Superman is honestly not really much that I'm into. But I got that one, and then I also got
Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I
got Wonder Woman too.
Finally, they've got her the legit one. Yeah, I have the Wonder Woman 84 one.
Yeah, and then I got one more.
All she has is just the lasso.
Sword. Damn it.
I got one more that's an official like statue from McFarlane.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at! Oh, you got that! Oh, you got the Black Adam one. Look at that! Oh, let me show that.
Changing the hierarchy of power in the universe.
Whoa, that looks pretty sweet right there.
That's actually the suit from the end of the movie too, when he has the cape and the lightning bolts a little bit more cleaned up.
Yep, that looks pretty sweet right there.
There's this one, and I honestly plan on getting the Dr. Fate one because I think that one also looks pretty good, but I'm also pretty much getting into like collecting like these kind of statues as well. But as of right now, you can probably notice that I barely have any shelves in the back.
Yeah.
Majority of the stuff that I have are like mainly Funkos mounted on the wall. So you probably see right here, I have the animated series collection that I'm mainly trying to focus on right now, but some of them are just so rare and like super high priced. And then I got a BVS, Shazam, Black Adam, and then the Batman from the Flash movie for Keaton. And you can also probably notice that I mainly have like DCU stuff right in the very back of me. And then on the other side, a singular Marvel SpongeBob Funko right on that wall.
Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it's going to be cool to see the Funkos and all the stuff that's going to be coming out for Superman. Obviously, I mean, again, crypto is just going to be it's a fan favorite, which again, smart for them to for Gunn. I mean, immediately when we knew that crypto was going to be in there, and I remember hearing that. I mean, I heard about that a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but I remember I think it was at Full Circle. I talked to somebody. I was like, "Oh yeah, crypto is definitely in." I was like, "Yeah." I think we all kind of assumed because Gunn likes his animals, and when we see him in the trailer, I mean, let's face it. I mean, that shot of him. Who would have thought that we see a live action crypto? Well, technically live action that is dragging Superman through the snow by his cape. And it's just like, when I see that shot, when I see like a GIF or when I see it in the trailer, I'm like, that's one of my favorite shots of the trailer because it's so goddamn ridiculous that I love it so much because I'm like, who would have thought that we would have saw something like that in a Superman movie? And I'm like, I'm just wondering what needle drop is playing over that because James Gunn
probably bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay.
That's gotta say, maybe bow wow wow.
Ooh, let the dogs out.
That could be good too. Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. But I think, and then I'm kind of wondering too, like now that it's confirmed that Supergirl is going to be in Superman, is it just going to be a silly mid-credit scene, like hey, this, that, and this, or this Gunn going to pull throw a curveball and be like, she shows up in a random scene within the middle of the movie? Like a lot of people were saying like, oh, I think she might be showing up. Like we got Kellix right here. When he's look at the reflection of the head. That might be Supergirl. I didn't really see it, but I'm just kind of wondering, would it be smarter to, instead of doing the traditional, like, oh yeah, they just have a conversation after this whole story ends, or she is like, just shows up in like a random scene, does her thing, and then that's it. What do you guys think?
Maybe
I reckon it should be end credits. You don't reckon? I kind of feel like it'd just be more of like an end credits that kind of goes into the second movie.
Yeah, kind of.
So the traditional way,
like the nature of the
in there, like as a prominent character, if it's a suit, like trying to focus on Superman. That's my only reasoning for it, but I just see it being an end credit thing.
I can think of.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to have it be like their first meeting, because I don't know if we've ever seen that live action, have we?
It's not going to be that.
No, we've never seen that.
No,
we saw. I mean, it was. I guess it was CGI technically, but it was in the Flash. With
in the Flash, but
with Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater. But as far as like having like two physical people, together in one scene, this would be cinematically be the first time. Just kind of with the nature of the Woman of Tomorrow story, I kind of lean towards maybe being more of an end credit scene because it's, I mean, she's like lost on another planet basically. So it's kind of like, okay, so she goes and helps him, and then she goes back to be stranded again. It's
Well, the idea, the story opens up. She goes to this other planet with Crypto on her 21st birthday because she goes to that planet to get drunk.
See, this is where I knew Crypto is a part of it, and he's going to be a part of Supergirl also.
Oh, he's a major part of the story.
Yes.
I don't want to spoil it, but
No, I know that aspect of all that. So that's why I'm kind of going what if there is a scene in the middle of Superman where she does the thing, and then we're and then of course they have their conversations and whatever the fuck. And then she goes, well, I got to do, something with this. And I'm wondering, can your dog come with me? And blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah. And it's just something like that. The fact that James Gunn has emphasized that he does not want to do the Marvel formula and do the traditional thing, it's just leading me to believe that it's not going to be a post-credit scene. It is going to be within the movie, and it's gonna. And I think that would actually have more of an impact when people are watching. Go, oh my god! All of a sudden,
I think if you want to set yourself apart, because even look at Creature Commandos, there was a mid-credit scene, but was it really setting up anything? No. I think if you want to set yourself apart from the MCU. I know post-credit scenes have become part of the culture for these movies, but if you really want to try and do something different with it, I think you do bake it into the movie somewhere, or have that be the ending of the film, where it ends in a way where it's Supergirl takes off with Crypto. You find a way to make that work to where it's not necessarily, it doesn't feel like it's setting up the next movie, but also too, it's it's still a tease. I know it's kind of weird, but in a way like that.
No, and then I think I don't know. To me, I'm just going. I hope that it's something within the movie, and they could have something else that's a mid-credit, post-credit. I think that's still going to be the case, but I just hope it's something else when it's and just have the Supergirl. You set it up within the movie. Don't save it to the end where it's just where everybody's expecting it. Have a surprise where all of a sudden she just freaking shows up. And then they have a conversation. I was well, and then I got to do this. Hey, and then Crypto's and doing his things can you come with me? And something like that. And then obviously we'll be oh shit. And then of course, guess what we get to do? We get to explain it to the normies. Hey, guess what? Yeah, you know what's gonna happen? There's a Supergirl movie coming out. Crypto's very much a part of it. Blah blah blah. We could do that whole thing. I don't know. I that's what I'm hoping that he ends up doing.
Well, but the next.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. By the way, speaking of crypto, before we go on, speaking of crypto, did any of you see I think it was a week or so ago, the that YouTube animated channel How It Should Have Ended? You know how one of the usual series that they do on the channel is the superhero cafe where Superman, Batman are at the booth, they're talking about whatever, and they're talking about the trailer, and then Crypto shows up. And Batman is just filled with dread because of a certain movie trope about dogs. And he's
that was funny.
Be afraid. Be afraid.
They never miss.
Be very afraid.
I mean, armor should do fine against cats.
I mean, the thing about the way it should have ended, that YouTube channel, they have not missed. They've been around through all the changes, and I love the fact that when it comes to the superhero cafe, they lean into all the changes. I mean, they talk about the new costumes, and they do the whole thing, but essentially, it revolves around Superman and Batman at a cafe sipping coffee, and Batman. Dark, and I'm Batman, and then of course Superman is just kind of the cocky, what are we doing here, kind of thing. So the fact that it's, I mean, they've been around since what? They've probably been around for almost
probably
a decade, right?
15 years or so now.
Yeah, over.
I think they've been around since Lord of the Rings came out, because I remember when they did the whole
Well, it's always worked, but the superhero cafe has always been my favorite part of the whole thing.
But so as far as the next trailer, that's I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but I just seen a lot of people just kind of speculating or talking about the next trailer. So that's not going to be at the Super Bowl. Is that confirmed?
They're going to do a Puppy Bowl thing.
Okay, yeah, and in fact, can you maybe clarify that to me? What's this Puppy Bowl thing? That's
you never seen a Puppy Bowl?
No.
Yeah, I'm
so
on that.
Year, so pretty much.
Okay, I mean, I can understand James. James lives he's already in the future. It's already Sunday for him.
Yeah, I'm in Sunday here.
Yeah, exactly. So he's already but when obviously when it comes to football, American football, there was like for a moment there, like for a bit, this is like probably like 20 years ago, maybe less than that. They did a thing where like, during the halftime of the Super Bowl, you don't have to watch like the halftime show if you didn't want to, you didn't care about the music, because there's always like a big musical act when it comes to the halftime show. So you could change it to, and then I think it was maybe Warner Brothers or Turner or whatever the hell that were running something called the Puppy Bowl, which was essentially, it was just, hey, you could watch a bunch of puppies attempt to play football, and it was adorable and cute and stuff like that. So Warner Brothers, and I think this is smart because, people love puppies. So why not bring it back to help market a Superman movie that has a dog in it that people are already falling in love with, that watch the trailer. I mean, I don't know how, when I went down that rabbit hole, I mean, again, I can't express it enough.
And I think they moved it the last couple years where it's no longer during halftime. It's like the morning before the Super Bowl.
It might be something like that too, to not.
It's like in the morning or early afternoon. You know how many people watched the Puppy Bowl last year?
How much? Oh, so it was still around.
It was, it's been around the last few years. Okay. Last year, 12.6 million people watched the Puppy Bowl.
See, right there, right there.
Yeah, which is the only reason I asked, is I just don't.
He's gonna have the slate himself
football,
as well.
So.
Yes.
It's gonna have what?
I was just saying he's gonna have that whole kind of slate to himself. No other trailers are gonna release during.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well,
so like if you do the Puppy Bowl in the morning, by the time the actual game starts, like the Superman, whatever they release, will have been out for at least an hour or two before to get ahead of everything.
And I don't think there's going to be an actual trailer. I just think there's going to be maybe a featurette.
That's probably not even in the movie.
It'll probably just like a scene they filmed independently. Just like it'll have like Crypto like taking a piss on Lex Luthor's leg or something.
Oh, don't do that! Please don't do that.
Like something random thing with Superman, Crypto interacting. I reckon.
No, I think they're gonna have. It's gonna be specifically Crypto footage that I think that they're gonna have. I mean, I think that's we're not gonna get a trailer. I don't think we're gonna get the full on trailer or anything like that. I think we're just gonna get some kind of like a clip. There might be a clip of just Superman and Crypto, and they're just talking to each other, they're interacting. And to me, I think that's smart because again, you're like, if you want people to just fall in love with this movie, you're already doing that with the Crypto scenes that are in the trailer, this adorable dog that's already dragging Superman. So then if of course you have them interacting with Superman and it's something that just nails like and we're gonna go down another rabbit hole of reactions where you see like especially specifically it hits the female demographic big time. Let's just not lie about that.
Yeah. By the way, Dave.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Dave, did I hear you right? Superman and Crypto talking to each other.
Yes. Like talking. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be. Crypto's not.
So is it going to be like Star Wars, where it's like Han Solo talking to Chewbacca and just
maybe something like that. No, it's not. I don't know if he's not gonna understand him, but it's gonna be like one of those things.
Yeah,
where it's like,
I don't care what you smell, get down there.
Yeah, no, it's still gonna be very much in the vein of like they don't fully understand each other. It's all like it's not gonna be like that.
Yeah,
you have to keep that dynamic because if they actually really understand each other, that'd be ridiculous. That just gets
it's not gonna be like
bringing back The Rock.
No.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Well, no, if it was like Han Solo and Chewbacca, I don't know. That'd
be too much.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it's not just the trailer, whatever they release to. It's the entire broadcast. I guarantee it will be Superman themed. The events will be Superman themed. The ball will probably be Superman themed.
Oh yeah, they'll have the S like all over.
They're gonna go crazy in that whole broadcast pushing that movie.
Yeah, great. Because I thought you were thinking about The Rock.
No. No, not that. No. I think they should just do like a subtle little like, hey, have a little scene, and maybe it's a scene from the movie, and I don't know, maybe something they shoot. Maybe it's something they shoot within, like they thought maybe it would be in the movie, and it's not going to be in the movie. Of just like them interacting, where it's like, it's like it's Superman trying to still, because even James Gunn said like he's he's not a good boy. He's not. He still has his like issues. He's not just like totally obedient. So if you have like a clip of Superman trying to train this dog that is an alien dog that can, that has powerful, he's powerful. And, you do something like that, I think that could go a long way when it comes to the family and the female demographic of this movie for sure. So I don't know, we'll see.
But yeah, I think what other trailers are potentially the big one I'm waiting trailer wise, that might drop at Super Bowl is the next Jurassic World.
That's going to be
there was a list that's been going around of like what's potentially on the table, but everyone seems to pretty much agree that you're getting a Jurassic World and a Fantastic Four trailer for the Super Bowl.
Yes,
100%.
One, like as far as like July goes, like Jurassic World, that's kind of my big one as far as anticipation, and part of that's because something just since the turn of the year, I've kind of been on like a bit of a Jurassic Park kick. I just had like the whole series like on a rotation recently. I've read quite a few articles. I may start keep writing a few more because I had some ideas pop in my head. One of them is that, and I kind of would put this question to everybody is because this is something I've always wanted to see Jurassic Park do, but they're not going to do it with this movie, and I doubt they are going to get to do it. But maybe like somebody, if they had like a Jurassic Park budget, maybe they could try something like this. Is because I've always kind of wondered, Jurassic Park, it's always had to, it's been within the PG-13 sandbox, but I've always wondered, like, what if they took the gloves off and said, we're just going like hard R, like this is like this is gonna be like a dinosaur. Yeah, I know Jurassic Park's not gonna do that, but that's why I say okay.
I would love it. But
like what and that's why I say it's like okay, give somebody like the average budget for a Jurassic Park movie and say okay.
Well, this movie is interesting too because I'm gonna because I told Dave about this on Twitter, but I'm gonna be very curious what the reception this movie will be if the rumors are true, because the big rumor is that this movie is like way more horror focused, and it's like there's not going to be a lot of dinosaurs in this movie. That was the rumor. Like there's only going to be like maybe 3 dinosaurs.
It's going to be minimal, just like what Gareth Edwards did with Godzilla. With Godzilla, right? Yeah, the first Godzilla movie. Some people complain like, "Oh, there's not enough Godzilla," but he did such a great job of just kind of like.
But I could see people being like, "Where are the dinosaurs?" It's like the whole movie. It's like.
That's how I responded to you too. The people are going to be there's going to be people that are going to hate that there's not enough dinosaurs, but then at the same time, I'm just kind of going like, well, that's going to be a fresh take because we don't need a lot of dinosaurs. Do something. I mean, I trust Gareth Edwards. I'm looking forward to Jurassic World Rebirth. I mean, yeah, it might not be like on the top of my list because I'm just kind of like, we'll see what happens. There was other movies that I was like more kind of going, I'm looking forward to this. But when I made my anticipated list, Rebirth was on there. It just didn't make the top 10. Well, it might be like number 12 for me, so.
Well, so let me see. Let me clarify when they're talking about like, because I read another quote where the director producer said something to the effect of they said, oh, we're promised like a spoil like spoils of like dinosaur content or whatever that is. So it's like, not that much dinosaurs. It doesn't mean like not that much dinosaurs on screen, or like we're just picking 3 dinosaurs and sticking with those.
It seemed like the rumor was like in terms of the dinosaurs you see in this movie, it focuses on 3 specific species, but also too, the screen time of the dinosaurs is going to be significantly cut down from like the last trilogy movies. Like it's really trying to harken back to the original film, where it's like the dinosaurs are there, but they're very much spread throughout the movie, and it really focuses on the human characters and the drama.
It seems like it's more like 3, because in 3, all you had was a Spinosaurus, and then who was just hunting him the whole time, and then you had a couple of pterodactyls, and that was it.
When you had the velociraptors.
Oh, and you had some of the hair parts that had.
Yeah. Well, then you had the T-Rex, but the T-Rex gets killed like immediately.
Killed in like 10 seconds.
I'm pretty sure the movie up till now, the Jurassic Park movie that had the least amount of dinosaurs was the second one, right? Because it was basically
Lost World.
It would be the third one. The second one, they had like a whole army of dinosaurs.
No, Lost World had tons. In fact, that's actually
Rexes. They had everything in that one.
In fact, what I was saying,
the main focus was like there was the baby one, and then there was the big one that was rampaging throughout San Francisco. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
No, there's in fact the Lost World. That's kind of what I was. you mentioned that because that's what I was saying about like if Jurassic Park, like what an R-rated one would look like. It's like World. Go back and watch that. That's about the closest thing I think we currently have to an R-rated Jurassic Park. Because that is a violent movie.
Yeah,
the girl gets eaten at the start by the little.
She survived. They established she survived, but
she just got injured really bad.
But there's the dude who gets ripped in half. There's the dude who gets stepped on. There's the all everything happens in San Diego. It's like and I'm part of me think I look back on that and think Spielberg might have been thinking like, okay, they're never gonna let me do an R with this. Okay, so
he pushed the envelope. I mean, they literally eat the T-Rex eats a dog, and that's forbidden.
Oh,
you don't see the dog get fully eaten, but you see he establishes the scene when Rexy shows up and he's like drinking out of the pool and the dog's like barking and then when the kid is like waking up the parents and then they look out and they see him going arf, arf, and you see the chain from the fucking doghouse. You're like, oh, he ate the dog. Shit.
By the way, that family, it's like what family still leaves their dog outdoors chained to a doghouse in the
it was the 90s.
It was the 90s.
No. So my dogs have always slept indoors.
Yeah.
But it's a certain dog. It's a certain dog. Yeah, but you're right. That's not it was the 90s. It was, but you had that dramatic effect, I guess you could say. But I don't know. But that trailer is going to be interesting. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, July is going to be such an insane month that I can't. I mean,
and that Fantastic Four trailer too is also going to be really important.
But do we still think it's going to show up? Is it going to show up in July? I have my reservations about it.
Regardless of when it comes out, even if it gets pushed to November, which it could, I still think that first trailer comes to the Super Bowl.
Blade's not there.
The what?
They've got a free slate in November now because Blade got pushed back.
I wouldn't be surprised if it does. I'm not going to look at it. I look at it like, hey, take your time. I want this movie to be really good. So if they need more time to, sharpen up the visual effects and do all that stuff, by all means, it's not a whole thing where it's like, oh, I don't want it to compete with Superman or something like that, or like July is too crazy. I just look at it as, hey, if Marvel Studios needs, because let's face it, there's been times where they've rushed things and it looks like shit. And so I don't want that with Fantastic Four. If they need that extra 5-6 months, whatever the hell it is, I don't even think it's that. It's probably like 4 months.
And also, too, that Fantastic Four movie, no joke, is probably the most important movie Marvel has released in the last 5 to 6 years.
It's going to have Dr. Doom in it. Well, at least.
Well, not even that. It's just, it is such an important movie because that movie has to really nail it because it's your fourth attempt at a live action Fantastic Four. It's also the first time you're utilizing the characters that you got from the Fox acquisition too. That's part of it. But also too, it is crucial that they nailed this movie because this is the movie that a lot of people are hedging their bets on, being like, okay, this is like the future of Marvel here. Like this movie's really got to nail it because we're kind of getting like Deadpool and Wolverine was great, but can they sustain this momentum? This is like that first big movie test,
Well, not just that too. It's got to lead into Doomsday because that's supposed to be his first appearance.
What's crazy about July is it is all about rebirth. It literally like Jurassic World using that term rebirth. It's like they're trying to reinvigorate the Jurassic Park franchise. We're trying to reinvigorate the DC franchise, and Marvel has been kind of struggling. Yeah, they're not trying to fully, but at the same time, they are, like you said, RJ, they are really heavily going, this needs to work because this is the first family, and we're trying to go into a new era of Marvel Studios.
And
July is
and seemingly too, if they play their cards right and it's going the way that we kind of anticipate it's going, they need that Fantastic Four movie to work too, because those characters are going to kind of lead the forefront for the next 10 years of their cinematic universe.
Listen, guys,
crazy.
With all this rebirth talk, it's like, how can you forget we're also getting a new I Know What You Did Last Summer that month?
Hell yeah! It's a month full of fucking rebirth.
I Know What You Did 28 summers ago, or whatever the timeline is.
You know what else is getting?
Wish they would title it that.
And Brad, guess what? You know what else is being reborn too next year? 2026.
What's that? What?
Scary Movie, man. The
Oh,
Wayans
thank you.
brothers.
Reminder.
Yes.
Your favorite,
Yeah.
Brad.
Oh yeah, Aaron tagged me in that with that news. That's super.
But listen, Brad, here's the good thing though. It's the Wayans brothers, and I think they're actually going to try this time to be funny.
They said they're actually going to try this time. Oh
And
wow,
Brad-
that fills me with so much confidence.
Well, no, because the
Wow.
Wayans brothers haven't been involved since like what, the second one?
Second one, yeah.
Give it a few months, Brad, and you'll be watching
None of them are
that.
good.
You'll be watching that in no time, Brad, with William. I guarantee you on that.
The first three were really good.
I actually liked it. The first three, but like because the Zuckers took they started they came in with 3. The Wayans were out. Yeah, I like what the Wayans did. I thought they were fine. I was like, I enjoyed them, and it was very raunchy, But at the same time, I'm just kind of going. I'm kind of going like, what the parody genre needs a renaissance, and I'm hoping.
And you know what, Raj? I totally forgot. The Naked Gun reboot also comes out in July.
Oh, that's true. Holy shit!
And with isn't it like? And as I recall, isn't Liam Neeson playing Leslie Nielsen's character?
Yeah.
He's playing his son. Apparently, he's supposed to be playing his son.
And also, the same.
Pam Anderson.
And I think the same day Jurassic World Rebirth comes out, the creators of South Park are making another movie with Kendrick Lamar. It's a comedy.
I
Dude, July is going to be absolutely insane.
And we got Smurfs. We got Smurfs.
It's also
Smurfs.
Yeah, there's a Smurfs apparently. I didn't even know there was one in the works, but it's there.
It's especially like with DC and Marvel, you're getting like a very Silver Age kind of interpretation now. It's kind of got that theme of Silver Age, like very science fiction-y, very like comic booky kind of people it looks like now.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing too, that both of those movies are coming out the same month because, like you just mentioned, both Superman and Fantastic Four are trying to like harken back to like Silver Age, like literally Fantastic Four is set in the 1960s and it's going full science fiction.
Silver Age,
I don't know. It's going to be interesting, man. I mean, like I mean, like I said, if Fantastic Four does get pushed, I would be like, hey, if that's what the studio feels like they need to allow their VFX artists to not work like 24/7, by all means, do that. I mean, I'm fine with that. I want the movie to be really.
I need
good.
Galactus to look incredible.
Yeah. Plus, it would also be a kind of emotional victory for DC because usually, whenever there are these dust ups on the schedule, isn't it usually DC that gets pushed back?
Yeah, there's been that.
And now this time, DC triumphs.
Captain America 3 get pushed back a lot. That's why there's like you don't want to kind of like. I don't think Marvel wants to kind of do that thing with Fantastic Four where it keeps getting pushed back, or that's why if they move it down. They have time to just work on it and not have all this rumors whether it's bad or good. Or
there is one caveat though to where I can see them not wanting to move the movie. I think they want to try a similar marketing push they did with Deadpool and Wolverine because it's Fantastic Four comes out the weekend of Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's why I could foresee them like really wanting to like. That's like the nuclear option. If like we don't want to move from that unless there's just absolutely no way we can make that date because that worked so well for them with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because if they do it the same way they did Deadpool and Wolverine, they're going to use Comic-Con to push that movie.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we don't know what's going on behind these, these meetings that they're having, and it's again though, it's like I just hope that we don't see like a very awful looking stretchy Pedro Pascal that just like was last
well
minute.
hey, as long as Julia Garner looks good as Silver Surfer,
hey. She admitted she wore like mocap. I know recently. It was like, okay,
she said she's a full-on mocap character, and she said that she got to look at her character, and all she said was, "I'm very shiny."
Yeah. So. Yeah, we
Shocking.
know that. This has potential to be one of the best Marvel Studios movies for sure.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, hey, take your time if you need to.
Well, and like for me personally, it's like when it comes to like just overall, just all the cape shit stuff this year, and it's like DC, Marvel, movies, TV, whatever. The biggest thing for me, anticipation wise, is Daredevil Born Again. That for me is my number one for anticipation. That trailer was
phenomenal,
was really well done. The fact that I'm so grateful they hit the brakes when they did and said, no, it's okay, we got to steer this back to what we were doing on Netflix because it's like
that just makes me wonder what the hell the original version of this was.
Yeah, that's true.
Where it's like, where even Kevin Feige took a look at this, like, this is so bad, we just need to like start over again.
Well,
thank God for the strike. The strike helped that. Yeah. I'm not thank God for the strike, literally, but I'm just saying, in the vein of Daredevil Born Again, is because I think Charlie Cox, he just got interviewed recently and he talked about like during the strikes, that's where they kind of went, wait a minute, they pumped the brakes and went and that's when Kevin Feige was like, hey, we're kind of steering a little too much, which is like, you want to just like move it forward and do something different, sure, but at the same time it's like it's been so long that and then people are just like clamoring for what was happening on Netflix. I think it was going to be more in the vein of what we saw in She-Hulk, to be honest.
Oh, God help us.
Well, I think the original, because I remember they had this giant Hollywood Reporter article. It was going to be like a legal procedure show, but also too, Daredevil wasn't going to show up and be in the costume until like halfway through the show. It was going to be more about like the legal drama and stuff, which just sounds really boring. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the legal stuff. Like, if you do it correctly, where it's like you lean into like the Law and Order style drama of the court cases, that could actually be really interesting, or like some detective work and investigations. But also, too, it's like you can't not have the violence and the action and like those, like apparently Foggy and Karen weren't going to be in the show at all.
No, not at all.
They have a lot of connections to the Netflix stuff. It's just like, just some of the decisions they were making, it's just like, why would you go in this direction where it's like, it's so alien from what people are expecting and wanting.
And like what you said they were going to go with the suit, RJ. I mean, it's like, I would have even like been okay if they had done something, since it's like his first time, in a headlining his own show again since season 3. I could have even seen, especially with it being called Born Again, they could have done something like first half, just have him in the ninja suit and then have like a big moment midway through where it's like he decides, I'm actually going to put my horn red suit back on and like make it like a big,
but that's the crazy
transitional
thing.
moment.
There wasn't going to be any suit action until like halfway through the show.
And it was 18 episodes, in the initial. So that's like 9. That is,
it would have been 9 episodes.
That's the entirety of what it's going to be now.
Ugh. That would have sucked. I mean, like people would have been like, "What the hell are we watching here? When is how many times?"
It would have been Law and Order, but in the MCU. Yeah. That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Oh, good God! But then, of course, I mean, that trailer hit all the right buttons where it just showed the gritty action again. It showed like graphic. I mean, like he like fucking
snapping dudes' limbs,
and then of course you get fucking Frank Castle in there. And he's all bearded and all crazy, and you're like, "Oh shit, what happened with him?"
What's that one-shot fight scene gonna look like in this season?
Yeah. You gotta do another hallway fight scene. If you don't, what a mistake.
You gotta do that one-shot shit, man. You gotta do.
Well, apparently now you've got a Punisher series in the works too, which would be great.
Oh,
they're gonna do a Punisher series now, like Daredevil, like a Punisher Reborn or whatever, but. That sounds pretty good.
You know what they should call it? Because I mean, they're harkening back at Daredevil Born Again. They should call it Welcome Back, Frank.
Yeah.
I mean, because playing on the whole comics title connection idea. So
I will be curious though to see if they do bring back Mike Coulter and Kristen Ritter.
For Luke Cage,
it does seem like they just want to focus on bringing back the Daredevil stuff because that was the most popular.
Yeah,
but also at the same time, like. Can you not at this point bring back everybody else?
Yeah,
Jessica Jones was my second favorite when it came to that.
And Jessica Jones and all that. Are they bringing them back, or is it just?
Who knows? We're kind of wondering about that.
Yeah, everyone's kind of wondering.
That's something we might debate a lot on
the other thing is like, what do you do with Iron Fist?
Because nobody liked Iron Fist.
And listen,
the thing is, though, like, I don't think it was the actor's fault. It was just they had a really bad showrunner.
Yeah.
Well, he had like 2 weeks to train too.
Yeah. The show didn't work. The actor was fine. And I thought Defenders was decent. It was fine. And I thought he worked with, when it came to the group, it was fine. Like Defenders is not, it's essentially Daredevil, 3.5, whatever, 2.5, whatever it is. Yeah. So, I mean, it was fine. But Iron Fist was the weakest one. I thought Jessica Jones was really good. I enjoyed those 2 seasons.
You have to listen to me on this, okay?
What did you think about Iron Fist, though? Did you like that one?
I didn't really like it.
I tell her.
I think season 2 was way better than season 1, but it still was not great.
Okay, wrong. No, so everybody listen to me on this. Okay,
season 2 is like much better, much better.
Yes,
I still think compared to the other shows, it's
I have to.
Everybody listen to me on this. I told everybody, okay, because the characters I was the most familiar with, because having actually read the comics of both of them, was Daredevil and Iron Fist for Marvel Netflix. I tell everybody, okay, listen, just skip season 1, go straight to Defenders. But this is for Iron Fist. Okay, just ignore season 1 from Defenders on. Okay, it's all right. In fact, season two, I thought was one of the best like individual seasons of Marvel Netflix. That was pretty close to being on par with Daredevil for me, was what they did on season 2.
Really?
And then all the stuff they teased when they at the end of season, like when they name dropped Orson Randall, I thought, oh shit, because I read the Immortal Iron Fist run when that was going, and I was so excited. And then like, of course, that's the point when they started canceling all of the Netflix shows. And then right after that, of course, I think it was Iron Fist first, and then Luke Cage after that. And at that point, everybody kind of realized, okay, this is it for.
Then they said Jessica Jones is ending with season 3.
Yeah,
then
at that point, it was kind of the writing was on the wall. But listen, everybody, just ignore season 1. Just go Defenders, Luke Cage, this Luke Cage season 2 appearance, and season 2. Okay, give my boy Danny a fair shake. Just ignore season 1.
Oddly enough, like I've been watching the What If series, animated series on Disney Plus, and if you guys have gone to season 3, what's one of my favorite episodes in the whole show is like there's a Western episode, and like the main characters obviously is Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop. Now they're the main characters in the episode, but there's a kid who's like helping them out a little bit throughout the episode. And at the end, you hear his name early on. It's Danny, and then at the end, it's Iron Fist. So what that means is that MCU is looking at all these characters and trying to think of how can we like bring them back and get the audience to like them.
Well, and apparently they haven't like clarified like exactly what shape it's going to take, but Iron Fist apparently is going to appear on Eyes of Wakanda.
Yeah.
That's right. They did say that. Yes. Really? Yeah, I forgot about that.
So we'll see what kind of how that shapes up. But this is something William and I we kind of debate a lot about on our show. It's like and when they brought Punisher back, and when they on Disney Plus they have officially canonized all of them. They're saying like we're not just like playing like this arm's length kind of stuff anymore. It's like you are officially part of everything we did, and they even like put each show, here's where it takes place in the timeline. When they did that, and then when they had Punisher come back and Born Again, that to me was a signal. It's like yes, they are. It might not happen like right away, but they might be like let's see.
I really hope they bring him back. I want to see Christian Ritter come back. I want to see Mike Coulter come back. I really want to see Elodie Young come back as Elektra. Great.
Yeah, I really want to see Luke Cage. I like that.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing I enjoyed too. Considering it, that was the thing I enjoyed too. Was the Luke Cage and Danny Rand chemistry.
Yeah.
They worked really well together.
Because even if you don't give them their own shows on Disney Plus and you just like keep making Daredevil seasons, I'd like to see them pop back up. Like do an episode where Luke Cage teams up with Daredevil, or
a lot of people Heroes for Hire.
Or like. You see the characters at least pop up again, so we know that they're still.
Or his firm could hire Jessica Jones because she's a private detective. That's what the other lawyer did. So it's like you could implement them in some way.
Do something like that. But we got somebody who's going to be joining right now, who is a Velociraptor apparently. Little movie perp.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh my goodness, he finally joined. He's been wanting to finally join forever.
Yeah, I saw you in the chat, and I was like, well, the link is where it should be. So, but you have an interesting
videos.
That's so cool that you're a Velociraptor.
Oh, thank you. Did I miss the Jurassic Park talk?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
Somewhat, but it is interesting. It's so cool. I'm like, how are you doing that? That's like, man, what's
it's like this program that I got from Steam. It's called Face Rig. You just have a camera. It just follows you.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes the mic gets in the way, or if I'm using my vape, it looks weird. But yeah.
I watched some of your stuff on the Mad Max, Max show.
Yeah.
You got good conversations on there.
Oh,
well, thanks, man. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
He's
Thanks
also
for having
a
me.
director.
Yeah, he is.
What?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's also a director. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually.
I directed. I was blessed enough to direct with my brother an episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead in season 3.
What the hell?
Oh.
No shit! Wow.
Yeah, he directed an episode in season 3.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, loved it. We got to work with Bruce Campbell, the whole crew over in New Zealand. It was amazing.
No shit. How was working with Bruce? I'm sure that was fun.
Man, I say it all the time. That guy needs to do theater because what you see on screen, when you see it live, it's just like it's a totally different experience. It's like magical. So cool. Like he's awesome.
I love that
guy. Do theater seriously. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, that's cool, man. Well, thank you for joining, man. Thank you for gracing us with your presence and your raptorness.
I actually call him Baby Hands because he has got baby hands.
It's cool. I'm down with that. It's fine.
Hands, I love it. No, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're looking for. Yeah, we did talk a little bit of Jurassic World Rebirth beforehand, and we're all looking forward to it. It's should be interesting. Like I said, July is just too crazy. Like I can't even imagine. I'm like going, Jesus Christ, what's going to be happening during July? Like July is just, I mean, I guess it's fitting. It's 2025. It's a good, nice little mid number of the decade. So why not have a new Superman movie, a Marvel movie, a Jurassic World movie? I Know What You Did Last Summer, Naked Gun. So many things that are just like crammed into this. That are just like, hey, remember all this stuff? Yeah, we got new versions of all this stuff right here.
The South Park guys doing a movie with Kendrick Lamar, because why not?
Yes, it's like what the hell?
And you look at 2026, and that's like on steroids. You got the Odyssey, you got
that's
Werewolf,
also
you got Supergirl, you got
original
Face, you got all these films coming out in 2026.
Yeah, 2026 is also going to be a good, but this year I'm just, it's already started off pretty, I've only seen 2 movies this year. I saw, of course, Den of Thieves 2 and Flight Risk, and I enjoyed both of them. I know,
nice.
And they're not like something that might not, not going to end up on my favorite list at the end of the year, but they were enjoyable little action movies where I'm like, yeah, this feels, it's fine. It's a good start. And Wolfman. 3 movies. I know James didn't really like it that much, but it wasn't for. It's not for everyone. Not for everyone.
Off Flight Risk earlier tonight before I came on.
You saw it? What'd you think?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's kind of like trying to do the whole claustrophobic action movie thing.
It felt like a 90s type of,
It's a Mel Gibson movie. I think that guy's an amazing director. Where do you guys rank it in his catalog then?
Oh, it's not up there with like all the other ones for sure.
Yeah.
But when I listened to him on Rogan, he kind of just did it for, hey, this is for entertainment. Yeah. It's not. He's been prepping the Resurrection, the sequels of Passion of the Christ for like 8 years.
Yeah, that's his baby. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been prepping that, and I think this was just his way of like, hey, if I do this one, can you guys help me out with this one? It wasn't like
one for me.
Yeah. It was a movie, and he said they shot this movie in like less than a month. It was like 22 days, he said, on Rogan's podcast, which makes sense. It's not it mainly takes place in the plane. So I could totally see that. And you just have like second units doing all the, the aerial shots and whatever the fuck. So it made sense. And I'm like, yeah. So he made like, oh yeah, let's do this quick movie, and everybody gets paid, and hopefully it's a low budget, and hopefully it makes the money, and it might. I mean, my theater was actually pretty. It was a lot more full than I thought it was actually going to be when I saw it. But it doesn't rank up with like Apocalypto, Hacksaw Ridge, or Braveheart. It does not. It's a small movie. There's some things in there where I go, okay. I was like, all right, okay. You decided to, she's gonna shoot the dude with a fucking flare like that. Like, I was like, okay. I think anybody who's seen it, Brad, if you've seen it, remember how she shot him with that? It was like very dramatic. It was like a little. I started kind of laughing. I was like, oh.
Well, and when she opened that window when they were getting close to landing, I thought, is she like gonna try like throw him out the window? So I thought land in peace.
Yes, yeah. There's some things. There's some choices. It's not a perfect movie, but it was entertaining, and it made me feel like, oh yeah, this is like a '90s type of thriller action.
It's something that you like these days you would more readily expect to see on VOD.
Exactly.
It's I mean, because like a lot of action movies, that's as somebody who's like that's really kind of my genre. It's like these days, like I mean, like when it comes to like the straight action movies, like probably like 90% of them I see like on streaming. They don't go like wide theatrical. That's just like it's like a byproduct. It's just like how theaters have evolved like post COVID. It's not like they're like discarded or anything. It's just to just sort of like carve out their niche a little bit better.
Yeah. No, but I would say like, it's going to be on VOD probably, in the next 2 weeks.
By my birthday, which is next Wednesday.
Yeah, so watch it. I mean, it's like Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg plays a good psycho. I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, I was remembering like one of the first
bad guy. Have you seen Fear?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like one of the first movies I saw with Mark Wahlberg.
It was like his first breakout role as well. He was fantastic in that.
He was beating his chest when he carved like that her name in his chest. Remember that shit? And he was like started beating his chest. I was like, yeah. He plays a good psycho, So and everybody else does well. Hope for Grace and I forgot her name. She's cool, but yeah, like I said, there's just some things in there you're gonna probably chuckle about because it's like, really, all right.
There's one part, and you'll know what I'm talking about, Dave. When it looks like they're gonna crash, and they're like coming to like the top of like this one mountain.
Yes,
and it looks like and they I don't know. Is this a big spoiler? I don't know.
No, it's not.
Okay, so they're losing altitude because the bad guy that got chained up, he keeps escaping, and so they're coming lower, and they're flying right into like the top like edge of this one mountain, and they can't get up in time, so they say, okay, screw it, we're just gonna just fly right through it.
Okay, my dad, who is a helicopter pilot.
I bet he called.
Dude, my dad went bullshit. I mean, he looked at me like bullshit, and I'm like, yeah, I know, Dad, I know. You got to suspend the disbelief. But immediately, my dad, the pilot, was like, bullshit. Yeah, as soon as they plow right through that, and I even thought that too. And I was like, I knew immediately. I was like, oh, he's gonna say something. And sure enough, my dad was like, bullshit. It's like, yeah.
By the way,
there's a lot of suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. By the way, like you mentioned Dave, you mentioned the Joe Rogan interview. One of my favorite parts of the interview was when he was talking about how like the whole reason he did Apocalypto the way he did, and the whole reason he did Passion of the Christ like in Latin and Aramaic and all that was that way back when he was younger, when he was thinking about wanting to direct his own movies instead of just starring in them. He was thinking of one of his early ideas for what a movie he would want to make was a Viking movie, but they spoke in Old Norse. And when he said that, I was like, make it, Mel. Make it. I want to see a Viking movie where there's that sounds awesome.
Well, you did that with The Northman with Robert Eggers. That's very
that in there.
Norse language.
It's funny you should say that, Eric, because Jim Caviezel, he did one called Outlander, which I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh yeah, the alien.
He's the spaceman who like crash lands during the Viking Age, and he's helping the Vikings fight the dragon. It's not in Old Norse, but it's pretty good. I like it a lot.
He's kind of made the joke.
That's one of the things that I didn't like about the Viking series. Like I thought it was terrific. I didn't like it how they all spoke in English, but then they couldn't understand. Like if they'd go to France, they would still speak in English, but it was like they couldn't understand each other.
Yeah.
From their perspective.
Yeah, language.
You know their language.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll see what happens when it comes to the resurrection thing. I mean, like, I'm curious, like, how, like, he, 20 years later, doing the resurrection of Christ and still having Caviezel in there. And he was like, hey, I'm still trying to do it. And so that's why I'm like, okay. I mean, I know like Mel Gibson's kind of fallen off when it comes to certain people, but I'm like, just let the dude do his thing. I don't think he's gonna have any more drunken, crazy moments like he did. And he totally, like, even in that interview, he goes like, hey, I'm not a perfect person. I made mistakes. I've made numerous mistakes. I cop to them. You know, he very much knows, like, hey, I fucked up. I know I fucked up. I am to blame. There's nothing, you know. And I even remember when I talked to Frank Grillo, when I interviewed Frank Grillo, and this was after Boss Level came out, and the villain of Boss Level was Mel Gibson. And even like Frank Grillo was like, hey, you know what? I know people hate the guy, but man, it was so fun working with him. He was a nice guy. He was totally just, you know, he worked with everything, and it was very fun to work with. I know he got a bad rap. It's like, but hey, you know, the guy made mistakes. He knows he made mistakes in the past. You know, it's like always one of those things where it's like,
a while back, you interviewed those directors who did, what was that Santa Claus?
Batman.
Yeah. I remember we had those directors on,
and they said it was such a great experience working with him, you know. And I love that movie. That's in my Christmas rotation. I love Fat Man. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it was fun.
I was gonna say too, real quick. Someone mentioned Wolfman earlier, and everyone's kind of made the joke that Robert Eggers saw what Lee Winnell did, was like, hold my beer, I'll outdo you. You know?
Oh God, I hate that shit.
I know. I am looking forward
for it.
I thought Wolfman had its moments. There's some parts I really liked. I thought the whole the truck hanging from that shout out to Jurassic Park, it seemed like it, or maybe it's because I'm a dinosaur. I always put everything. The tree was like hanging from the truck was hanging from the tree. I thought that was a very well constructed scene. I was
Lee Winnell knows how to move a camera.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say that, because I love, like, what I loved about Wolfman was especially when they transitioned to where his point of view, when he was like seeing things being like an animal now, and like the camera would like do this crazy thing where it would be like, well, not crazy thing, but it would like rotate, and then all of a sudden like everything would change, like the palette would change, and everything would change, and then you're hearing like muffled voices. You're seeing like the pupils of their eyes like start to glow, and he's starting to see things like the dust in the air, and just noticing a lot more stuff. It was like, I just loved like the Wolvie, you know. Again, it's a modern day. Just like what he did with Invincible, it's like a modern day interpretation of like a classic character that's been around for 90 years.
I sort of like likened it to when I saw it. It's kind of like it's kind of a similar setup to Cujo. I thought, you know, Steve Cujo.
True.
Like you want to do that with the Wolfman. It's kind of the impression I got.
Yeah, I think even the original like Wolfman, the Universal black and white one, even had like the whole underlying thing with daddy issues, like that had that going on too. So it's like,
the same with the 2010 one.
Everything. It's a take. I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for
the 2010 one was that had a great Wolvie.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And the gothic context of it is so eerie.
And then I saw this movie yesterday, Presence. I don't know if you guys heard of that one.
I've heard of that. It's a Steven Soderbergh one, right?
Oh yeah, God, I loved it.
It's a lot of one shot, right? It's all one shot.
It is. So essentially, the movie's told in 20 shots, essentially, and he constructs this whole.
It's supposed to be it's supposed to be the POV of the ghost or something like that.
Yes, it's exactly that. Yeah, and some people even like when they feel the ghost, they look at the camera. Like, it's awesome. I loved it.
I love that kind of shit.
I've never seen like so much like character with camera work. Like the camera itself is the character.
That's pretty sweet.
And it was really, really awesome and creative. I loved it.
No, Soderbergh's awesome, and you know, if you're gonna take like a unique approach to it like that, like when I heard like, oh, it's supposed to be the POV of the spirit, and there's a lot of like continuous shots where it doesn't really cut away. It's not fully a one shot, but there's a lot of like that. I'm like, okay, I got to see this movie. I saw people reacting to it, say, yeah, it's not scary, but the concept's kind of cool, and I was like, all right. All I know is like when I read that it was like, oh, point of view of the spirit, a lot of one-shotting stuff. I'm like, all right, you sold me on it, and I'm a fan of Soderbergh, so I'm gonna definitely check that one out. I love that kind of shit.
And speaking of Soderbergh, of course, there's all that talk about the next Ocean's movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds it's going to be a blend of the characters from the Ocean's 11 crew and Sandra Bullock's crew?
But yeah, his sister.
Could be.
Yeah.
They probably should do that. I mean, I didn't really like Ocean's 8. I liked Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett. the rest of the crew, I was like, okay. I didn't really buy Rihanna as the hacker chick. I was like, really? Rihanna as the hacker chick? Okay. You could have did a better casting for this. I'm like, she's not really like she's not in a bunch of movies where she warrants being the hacker of the group.
Like the only thing I remember her in other than that was Battleship.
Oh God, that's right. Yeah, any movie she's been in, she's just been awful. I don't, so I'm like,
and apparently she's always sitting down too, or she has.
I'm like, okay, so that's why. But I liked the chemistry between Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett. These are two powerhouse women that are just like awesome. And when I was watching that, and then of course, like she is Danny Ocean's sister, and there's the whole thing of like, oh, he's dead, and I was like, well. Is he? I'm like,
we all know he's not.
I was going, is he really dead or did he fake his own death? And this is all just a whole thing, And I'm like, so, and I saw some people when that whole thing was being talked about. It's like, well, didn't he die or something like that? I'm like, well, he's a fucking thief, a master thief. He probably faked his own death just to get away from that. They could totally work that into a story. And everything. But if David Leitch being attached to it, of course, the jokes were like, oh, wow. My joke was like, oh, yeah, Danny Ocean and Rusty, they're going to fucking, use gun fu.
Yeah.
Maybe action movie. It's not going to be that. David Leitch should approach it and tackle a different genre where, he's not just doing action. Do a heist movie that doesn't have the crazy action. Show your range. Do something different, David Leitch. I would be okay with it.
I bet $100 that has a car chase at least.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Could be something like that. I don't know.
It's funny you mentioned that.
Which is fine. Have him. That's fun too.
It's funny you mentioned that, Dave, because with David Leitch, you'll post because obviously he started out with as far as directing, he started out co-directing the first John Wick, and he's actually his directing career, he's done. The only like Fast and Furious movie I like actually liked, like on a serious level post Fast 7 was a Hobbs and Shaw, because the series has just gotten so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Hobbs and Shaw is the only one. I mean, it's got stupid, ridiculous moments in it, but it also it has a better grasp on how to balance all that and like actually, with action movies, I don't necessarily like. It's one thing is talk about realism. It's like for me the biggest thing is believability. It's like do I believe like all this is possible, or that do I believe the situation? Do I believe everything that's going on? It's like Hobbs and Shaw has been the only one after 7 that I think has really managed to do that, because they've otherwise have just been a big kind of cartoon.
I think the thing with David Leitch, one of his strengths that isn't talked about is that man has such a great eye for production design. So it's like even with like something like Hobbs and Shaw, the set design is beautiful. It's just beautiful, and the John Wick stuff specifically, his lighting is just on another level. I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty cool. But going back to the DC stuff, I mean, this is it's going to be an interesting year because Supergirl's currently filming, and then of course, we just got our new Sinestro. Ulrich, what's his name? Ulrich, I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, actor from Banshee and The Blacklist.
Yeah, I have not seen him in really anything, but I've seen the clips, and I'm like, okay, he's got a good voice, he's a good actor. Okay, works for me.
Where he's yelling at
Ulrich Thompson.
I don't know what it was, but it was Thompson. Good. I liked it.
Is it Ulrich or Ulrich? I don't know. It was
Ulrich.
Okay, Ulrich. Okay. Yeah, I know. When it comes to names, I'm terrible. But yeah, so I mean, Sinestro being the main villain, I think we were all hoping for that. And so, I mean, again, Lantern, so good. It's going to be so good.
It's going to tie into like the overall plot though, because like he's the villain, but it's also supposed to tie into the big overarching villain, apparently.
Yeah. You guys don't think they're going to do the friend arc first for like one season or something?
No, I don't think so. I think we're jumping into an already established.
Gotcha.
Jordan, who's already retired. He probably has like that long history already.
Yeah.
Do we know if it's Lanterns is going to be the project that comes out right after the Superman or Supergirl movie comes out?
The first one after Superman is Peacemaker season 2, and then I think after that it's Supergirl, and then it's Lanterns after that. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's gonna.
There's also that mystery film as well, which is we don't know anything about. It could be Sergeant Rock. There's a rumor about that as well.
We also got Clayface filming this year at some point.
Is that also going to be? Is that also going to be like a DCU project or like a Elseworlds project?
No, it is DCU, and it is the Creature Commandos one because James Gunn the other day just debunked it, saying Clayface is still alive. So it's the same Clayface.
Yeah, you said like Clayface is alive, but he's worse for wear or something.
Electricity never kills him anyway. Like it's shown in Batman the Animated Series, he gets electrocuted all the time. It just slows him down.
Do you guys know why Sergeant Rock, or any theories of why Sergeant Rock hasn't officially been announced?
That's
like, what they're waiting for. What exactly could they be waiting for? Yeah.
What do you say, James?
I was just going to say they've all probably agreed, but they haven't signed a contract, so it's not officially official yet.
It's just everyone's treating it like it's a done deal. So I'm like,
yeah, exactly right. But like, if you haven't exactly signed the paper yet, it's not. It's official, but it's not official, I guess. But that's what I think. I don't think they've signed the papers yet, but they're on board.
It could also be maybe they're also cracking, trying to finalize it.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, obviously that could be a huge win. I mean, I talked about it on Wednesday's Film Junkie Live, and I keep on reiterating, like, hey, this could be a win if they have a good script, you have a good director, you have a star, a Daniel Craig. It could be something where it's like, hey, you make it for $40 million, $50 million, and it's like this crazy war movie where people are, you have him attached. I mean, again, that's a huge win, and you got to like figure that out. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering when James Gunn and everybody's going to officially go, hey, this is happening. And this is a movie that I didn't know until I started like diving into it. They've been trying to make this movie ever since fucking Predator, when they showed the comic book in the post in the ending credits, and you see Sergeant Rock, you see Shane Black's character, reading it. They were like, hey, we want to make this movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then all of a sudden they're like, that didn't work, and they were trying to make it again with Bruce Willis in the 90s, and then Quentin Tarantino has read a magnificent script that he read, that he thought about doing and has thought about going back and doing. And this is recently, this is like in the last 5 years that he said this. And I'm like kind of going like, Jesus Christ, make this movie if they're basing it off of this really magnificent script.
10th movie number 10.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty sweet.
I'm holding out for that.
Yeah,
the one I'm holding out for that. No, the one I'm holding out for that for him to do for number 10 is Kill Bill 3. Yeah, is with the daughter. You're seeking revenge on the bride. The whole part's like, hey, if you're still sore, I'll be waiting. And here you are. We are 20 years later. She's finally getting her payback.
Yeah, because of all the potential sequels that he's talked about, that's the one that he most has set in stone in his mind. Like, I have the storyline for it. So yeah. I agree that of all the potential spin-offs or potential sequels he's talked about, that is the one I would most want to see. Yeah. And that is also the one that would be most cinematic because it's Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I just like on directors, we were just talking before about Severance. I was thinking, like, I wonder what Ben Stiller could do in the DC, because I thought Severance. I'm just saying, like, out of curiosity, as a hypothetical, not to say that he would do it, but like Severance is amazing, and I was just like, like what could he potentially do if he was asked in the DCU? That would be interesting.
Question. I don't know, something like that. Something crazy.
I got a good one.
Booster Gold.
No.
Yeah, he could probably do a Booster Gold.
Well, we're seeing
the trickster. He could be the trickster.
Oh yeah, I can see him as the trickster. Yeah, we're gonna see him though return as like one of his most iconic characters this year. Like, you control people. That's a shit.
I think James is just talking about directing. The directing.
Well, he could act as well because he's a fantastic.
Yeah, of course Yeah, he would. But I'd love the fact that I'm actually surprised that Ben Stiller has not made an appearance in Severance. He's just and it was kind of funny too that Keanu Reeves got put in there just randomly. I was like, holy shit, Keanu Reeves, like, he's part of this. That's pretty cool. So,
and it's so outside of his wheelhouse as well. Like, Ben Stiller usually does comedies, and now he's doing like a sci-fi drama, and it's good. So it's like, it's seeing him do something different.
Here's one, The Creeper.
Yeah, Creeper could be fantastic.
I will say, like, Dave, when you and Scott watched that episode, like, I was kicking myself that I missed it, like when you guys did it live, but it's like I enjoy that episode. I mean, I know it's dumb, but it's like what, as Jeremy Johnson would say, it's great if you're drunk. But
yeah. I think
the question, if you're going based on like conspiracy and sci-fi, like with Severance, the question's right up his alley with that.
Yeah, true.
I could, it's like, you know, as far as him like playing any characters, it's like I could kind of, and he could probably, I could see him directing something like this too. I could see Ben Stiller doing something like Plastic Man.
Yeah, you could do a Plastic Man thing.
Plastic Man. Although I would say, what's his name? Who was on SNL for a while, but who also, he was there was that recent Christmas movie that what's her name, that Anna Kendrick was Noel, I think is what it was called. Who is that guy who's like her brother in that movie, who's also on SNL, who's also
no idea.
Maybe a little bit more to go on there.
Samberg?
Yeah, not Andy Samberg, but the other Samberg.
Adam Sandler?
The other Samberg?
Adam Samberg, yes, I think so. Yes. Adam Samberg.
What?
Yeah. He is.
I assume it's the boy. He did a movie with Andy Samberg. That's My Boy or something. That's how.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You're talking. Wait. You're talking about who now?
He's talking about Adam Sandler, but I said Andy Samberg.
Not Adam Sandler. Not Adam Sandler. Okay, look up. There's that Christmas movie that's only on Disney Plus called Noel that Anna Kendrick is on. Bill Hader, I think. Yeah, Bill Hader.
Was it Bill Hader?
Yeah, Bill Hader.
Okay.
He is. I'm pretty sure. No, actually, it's not him. But like, there's a guy who has very much a very like he was on SNL a lot. I think maybe it was David Sandberg, but he always had this look kind of James Cagney kind of look to him, which is why he is who I would always envision as Plastic Man.
Okay, there it is. Noel. It's spelled differently than it's supposed to be. So, it is Bill Hader. Okay.
Yeah, Bill Hader. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like Bill Hader. I think a lot of people are thinking of what's his name who voices Sonic. I can't remember. Ben Schwartz. There we go. They were thinking that he might actually be a good one too.
Plastic Man. Okay. Yeah.
So he would actually, and he's actually been at, like, when he was doing press junkets for Sonic 3, people actually asked him, like, would you want to play Plastic Man? He says, absolutely. And blah, blah, blah. And he even said, like, is that what people want me to play? I don't even really know who that is. And then I think, like, later on, he, like, researched it. So then when somebody asks again, he goes, yeah, I've actually know the character. I think I would be awesome for that. I'm like, you know what, to be honest, I think he would be. He actually has the look and the voice and everything that he could play that, but who knows? Is that actually happening? Who's supposed to be Darren Aronofsky is supposed to be directing that? Wasn't that the rumor for like the last?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a body horror, like hard out.
Don't know. I'm going
body horror.
I don't know, but you know, the DC universe. Hey, we'll see what happens. Like I said, a lot riding on Superman. We'll see what we get more when it comes. I'm kind of curious when they start rolling the cameras on Lanterns, what kind of tease we're going to get for that. And I think they should keep doing like those teases. And then when we're going to get the, obviously we have CinemaCon that's coming out in April. We're going to get probably the Superman cast.
April 1st. Yeah.
Yeah. April 1st. Yeah. April Fools. Yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes to that. So, but
I reckon at Comic-Con, like, James Gunn should announce who the Batman actor is. That would be pretty.
That might be too soon. Who knows? But that would be cool if there is going to be something like that. You know, place your bets on that whole thing. But
did you guys talk about Clayface, Mike Flanagan?
Ooh.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's.
I have a theory about that. He's sitting on a movie right now called Life of Chuck with Tom Hiddleston that apparently it did its festival run.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's possibly Neon is possibly going to do an Oscar run with that. Now I know he got the writing credit for that. I would think, because he's never written anything without directing. I would think if they're doing that expect like an announcement after like Life of Chuck with the hype and all that yeah, he's indeed also directing the Clayface movie.
Yeah.
Isn't he also doing?
I think it'd be great if he did.
I thought he was doing The Exorcist at the same time. That's why he couldn't commit to Clayface.
Oh, that's right. He's got the Exorcist.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and he's got something else after that too.
Remake. Yeah.
Oh, he's doing all the Stephen King. He's on a Stephen King run right now. That's true.
But at least, hey, if he doesn't direct it, hey, we got his writing, and if they find that right director that goes, oh, I know I can do this,
David Cronenberg.
Yeah,
or like
that would be
James
funny.
Bond. Yeah,
could be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who. I mean, again.
Or here's a crazy idea. You bring David F. Sandberg back to DC to do a horror. I'm serious though. Like,
bring James Wan while you're at it.
I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate that at all because I think David F. Sandberg, right?
Robert Eggers.
He's a good horror director. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Or something like that, but anyways, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up. This has been a lot of fun talking to you guys, and we'll go around the horn right here and promote anything that you guys got going on. If you're working on things or whatever, we'll start with James, of course.
Yeah, well, I don't have anything at the moment. I was writing a short film script that I plan to direct, but at the moment I'm just focused on uni, doing my Juris Doctor. But yeah, that's still something in the works, and see how we go with that.
Yeah. No, I've seen, like I said, I've seen your short films. They're really good. So, and they're posted. Aren't they posted on YouTube?
Yeah, they're on YouTube. Just Google James D. Michelle D.I. space M-I-C-H-E-L-E and you'll see some of the short films there.
Yeah. Good work. Jade.
All right. Well, you guys can pretty much catch me on Twitter, not X, at Sly Bat Dude. And I think you can also pretty much catch me with the same tag on Twitch too. I'm pretty much still trying to get back into streaming and everything, and mainly for like gaming and all that stuff. So if you're a big gamer, definitely check it out if I ever go live. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. And it was always pretty much fun jumping in here, chatting with everyone. So
appreciate it, man. And I like your upgraded setup, man. You might have you have a good voice. I'm just saying, start doing some things, man. We'll go to Brad.
Yes, you can find me also on the usual social media places. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, on trying to use my Instagram a lot more these days. I'm also on Vero. You can find me. I write for a number of different outlets online, so you can find my work on Kung Fu Kingdom, Compo.com, and Fortress of Solitude. And you can also find me co-hosting the Sci-Fi Center live with Mr. William Powell. I saw him a bit in the chat tonight. He's had a few things going on these past few days, so that's why we didn't have a show last night or tonight, but probably getting back into it pretty soon here. Right now, we are doing about 2 episodes at a time. We're going through all 3 seasons of Daredevil in the lead up to Daredevil Born Again. Right now, we just got through a few nights ago episode 6 of season 1. So if you guys want to jump in with us on that, we'd love to have you, and we'll be continuing our odyssey until Born Again gets here.
There you go. Taladia Plays. What do you got?
Okay, you guys can check me out on YouTube at Taladia Plays. I'll be doing some Marvel Rivals content, and I might do some Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man animated show reactions.
Right, that's coming out next week, right?
Yeah, so I might do some reactions to that as well. So you guys check me out there.
All right, appreciate you. RJ, what do you got?
Not working or anything really besides life and just trying
my
to survive.
fellow WBD plant, right?
Yeah, they foot the bill, so I don't
Show
really
me the money.
anymore. But no, if you want to follow me on social media, Resident Justice, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Blue, whatever else apps are out there, I'm sure I'm there somewhere.
All right, Eric, what do you got?
Well, you can find me on YouTube at Hardboiled Entertainment. You can find me on Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, at Hardboiled Films.
There he is. I love that mug. You got a good mug, the best mug ever. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Absolute best. Wonders.
Coffee's pure.
Oh, that's great stuff. All right, then we got a little movie perp. What's happening, Raptor?
Yeah, you could find me here at YouTube, Little Movie Perp. I like to talk about horror films, action films, mostly foreign, Asian, indie type, underground stuff. Love talking about that. Love talking about. Normally, I really don't talk about like scoops or news or box office stuff. Like I like actually talking about the films and stuff like that, and going into panels and meeting new people, find people like you.
Yeah.
So, hello, everyone.
Good. No, just great talking to you, man. And I like I said, I like your Raptor graphic right there. And
Gracias.
Yeah, no, it's always great to meet people on here and supporters of the channel. Like I said, thank you guys, of course, being supporters of the channel, and always great having these conversations. And we got to keep it going because this is what it's all about. We love this stuff. But and then of course, thank you everybody who is watching. Hit that like, thumbs up, subscribe, do all that. Till next time, thank you, of course, James, Jade, Brad, Taladia, RJ, Eric, and of course, Little Movie Perp. All right, talk to you guys later.
Later.
Thanks,